right, episode 30. How's it
Wow.
going?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. This
No.
is really exciting.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited too.
Dude, I know we were like literally just chatting about it right before you pressed the record, but honestly, I am really impressed with the setup that you have. I think like everything is like really cozy, and I think that there is such a, people really know when they see something like, oh, this is like really well done. This is really well made. This is really professional. And I
Yeah.
think like when you're kind of coming out of the gate, like trying to have that professional look is already going to give you miles.
Are you
on,
saying I look like a professional?
I'm just thinking. Well, look, just based on you got the big frizzy hair, you got the beard, and you got like the cozy couch behind you. I just think like you look like you got some in-depth questions. You look like you're really looking for the scoop.
Well, it's not an interview. I always tell people that.
Oh,
like
that's
I don't like to interview people. I'll just ask questions for my own curiosity, but it's more like a conversation. Like I'd be
Yeah.
asking you these questions with no cameras and no microphones, anyways. I'd be like, so how did Daytripper start? Like how did this shit start up, man? Like how did you get into this? And I'd be asking you those questions just like at a party or whatever. So
That's awesome.
and I have the experience with audio, and well, now I'm trying out cameras and video, and holy shit, it's hard.
Yeah.
But,
Oh my gosh. I couldn't
with-
imagine getting like. I mean, you got like the double video cam set up, and these microphones are super great, super professional. I definitely want to buy one for like my home studio.
Oh, dude,
and
these
stuff.
mics are awesome. Like I love these things. They like it doesn't take much to make them sound really good. Like
Yeah.
they're super smooth for dialogue,
Mhm.
and I heard they're really good for like loud vocals.
Yeah, I was just about to say too. I've kind of read the internet that these are really good for guttural and screaming vocals for
Yeah.
recording, especially in kind of like a home studio setup. So that's kind of like, oh well, perfect. I scream and I sing, and so just kind of getting at least something that will be a little bit of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, for sure. With dialogue though, you got to put like a preamp on it.
Yeah,
because with this
mhm.
Yamaha on both of the channels, I'm pushing the preamp almost all the way up just to
Gotcha.
get this sound. And it's like I'd rather just have something that
Yeah,
plugs
can
into the mic and then to the board, and then I don't have to push the board so hard. And I could probably get a preamp that helps out the dialogue sound. I heard cloud lifters were good for that, but
Oh, okay.
I'll have to try that out.
Yeah, I'm used to kind of working with like preamps. I got like a really just awesome vinyl like record player, and it's just it's just such a weird story about how I like got that. If you don't
Yeah,
mind.
dude, go for it.
So this is just a weird story. So I was just kind of at a like a rave with one of my friends, and we were both like having a good time. And, you're kind of like having a dancing around, kind of vibing with the people next to you. And like this one guy just kind of like kept looking at me. I was wearing my overalls. And he's just like, man, I love you, man. I love your overalls. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you, haha. Like we're vibing, and then just man, throughout like the course of the 4-hour night, he's like still there, we're still jamming, and then he's like, oh, are you going to like this other concert? And I'm like, oh yeah, like that's awesome. And he lived like pretty close to where we were, and asked like, hey, like is there any way that you could just kind of like I got to get an Uber, it's going to be really expensive, but like would you guys kind of be able to bring me over like halfway so I can order the Uber from your house? So I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then he kind of came into my room in my studio, saw my like huge record collection, and was just like, dude, I got like an old record player just like sitting in my garage. Like, do you want it? And I'm like thinking to myself like, oh God, this thing's probably some busted up piece of
Yeah.
shit. It's like, sure, why not? And I was like, yeah, I'll just go over there and pick it up. And I got it and like looked it up, and it's like a $1,500 record player.
Like a vintage.
Yeah, like a vintage. I really wish I remembered the actual who like made it.
Yeah.
But I like rebuilt the whole thing, and I felt so bad. I was like, dude, I feel bad like taking this off. I gave him like a couple $100 because like, dude, I don't think you realize what you just gave away to me. It's like this $1,500 record player
that's
for
awesome.
free. So hey, you never know who you're gonna meet at raves and become friends with, and just appreciate his generosity. But yeah, that one required like a preamp, and I had to like super glue on like the weight. It took me like 5 hours to like rebuild it, but it was worth it. And
Did you
it
have to do any
sounds cool.
soldering?
No, luckily not. That was what I was mainly worried about, was trying to kind of like reconnect. But it belonged to like his grandpa, and I'm sure like his grandpa just took like hella good care of this thing for as long as like he had it, and it even came with like a new needle, like a fresh needle. I was like, you
Oh
gotta be
wow,
kidding me! Like, all right, like
nice.
I just expected this garbage like $100 broken thing, and it's just like, oh, here's like one of the most expensive record players you could buy. Like, thanks, man.
Like
Like,
a family heirloom too.
yeah,
Like what the hell?
yeah, right. That's what. That's what. It belonged to his like grandpa. Like, I rescued this. Like,
He's
but
like,
I
you can
felt.
have it.
I felt so bad, and so I was like, "Man, like, I would hate to just steal this from you, and especially like we're probably never gonna see each other again. Like, I don't know if you were having a great time at the
Right.
rave and just kind of gave away this $1,500 thing to a stranger. So I gave him a couple $100 and he was like, okay, like, thank you. So,
Well, that's really cool, man. That's
but
awesome.
kind of a random thing, but definitely. Do you collect any records at all?
No, I don't collect records. My brother has a bigger record collection than I do.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not super into like the vinyls.
Okay.
Like I've never really had a vinyl player or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely, and it's not a cheap like hobby.
yeah. I
not
mean,
a
the only
cheap
collection I have is like comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
the shelf behind you has like most of my comics on it.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, but those are all like those are like 15 to $20 each.
Yeah,
When you're
right.
buying them,
Mhm.
it's like Jesus Christ.
I know,
And
right?
most of that collection I bought when I was in the Navy. I was just
Yeah.
like sitting in my barracks room, like bored as hell. I'm like, oh, let's go to the comic shop. There's a really cool comic shop in the little town that I was stationed at,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called Third Eye Comics. I don't
Oh,
even know if
nice.
it's there anymore, but it was cool. They had like those paperback trades, those versions that have like the 4 or 5 chapters per book.
Oh, okay.
And they were just lined around the walls on shelves. So it was just all like, the paperback trades where you could read the spine and you didn't have to like shuffle through boxes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I hate shuffling through boxes looking at single issues because, there's always like one or two missing and you're like, oh my God, this is fucking horrible.
Oh, that's brutal.
And it's like the paperbacks, like, you can usually find like 1 through 6 and you're
right,
like,
yeah,
this is like almost the whole series right off the bat. And like,
Mhm.
should I drop $120 on this? Like, okay. Like,
That's so funny. That's like incredibly similar to just like vinyl collecting.
Yeah, dude,
'cause
it's
just
like the same
The
thing.
crate digging is real, and you're like, oh my gosh, and like so many times. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of deep into the metal section,
yeah.
but like if I'm really looking for an artist specifically, I'll just check like the other genres, because sometimes I don't know, people kind of look at it and they're like, I don't know what this is, rock, and so
Yeah.
I'll just sometimes you got to go real fishing for that kind of stuff. But
Like the psychedelic rock. That kind of
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
is crazy
Mhm.
because none of that stuff really hit the radio. Like, there's some really good shit that never really got popular.
Dude, honestly, like psych rock was what I was into kind of like before I came into the metal scene,
Yeah.
and I feel you. Like it just didn't really have that like mainstream kind of acknowledgement, and people were like, "Oh, psych rock," and you have a ton of variation. I mean, I think arguably, maybe one of the most popular ones is Tame Impala, but they're kind of going more into the like kind of synth psych
Yeah.
pop realm. But their couple earlier albums, I feel like really birthed a huge, good mainstream movement that psych rock really needed to hit. And so that's kind of like the scene that I was really in, and I love bands like The OC's, Ty Segall, and then, of course, my all-time favorite band, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Amazing psych
Damn, you
rock
got to
band.
send me that.
Dude,
That sounds
yeah.
really good.
They're super crazy. I actually just got back this last weekend from Seattle, and they played 3 nights in a row, like for 2 hours, all 3 different sets. And King Gizzard has like 24 albums, like full-length albums. Each album is almost a different genre of music, like anything ranging from like a Western like story to thrash metal to like synth, like city pop.
Yeah.
It is, but they could play them all. So definitely love the King Giz. I'll for sure get you a couple recommendations. It's hard to start off on like, oh my god, where do I start? This band has 24 albums and they're still like a new band. It's like, oh my god.
It's like the Melvins.
Yeah.
Dude, the
yeah.
Melvins, it's not really like psych rock, but it's more like I don't know, what would you call it? Like,
Yeah, they
they go through a bunch of genres too. So it's like they're definitely rock, but like, I don't know. Like Tenacious D comes to mind. If I was gonna think of a comparison, they just do goofy ass shit.
That's
like,
so interesting. Yeah, I've never
like-
heard that comparison, but
it makes like
it makes
I don't know.
sense.
It's like that fucking what's his name, Buzz Osborne, the lead singer. That dude's nuts. He's like a mad genius. He's crazy. He just keeps writing music and like it just like
dude, some people got it in them, man.
he just fearlessly puts out everything he writes. It's like, well, probably not, but he just does not care what genre it is, like what kind of song it sounds like. Like he'll fucking put that shit out. Like
That's awesome. Especially they've just been going for so long.
Well, I heard
they already have like a kind of a cult like fan
I heard
base.
a quote by him. He said he's gonna put out one album every year until he can't.
Damn.
So that's why they have so many fucking albums. Like
Holy
every year he
shit.
puts out a new album. It's like Jesus Christ. I wanna look that up to see if that's true. Yeah.
What it's a good goal, and it's a good doable goal, and they're coming. I think we were kind of chatting a little bit about this yesterday. They're coming with Boris to the it was a marquee.
Yeah.
Okay. Hell yeah. Definitely. I think I might go to that show. Definitely a big Boris fan, and I've never seen the Melvins live, and so
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I wonder what they play. You know, would it be new stuff or like fan favorites or?
I've even, just a couple of their old classics. Like I've even been, heard people kind of call them in like the sort of, heavy like rock doom like category too.
Yeah, the earlier stuff was definitely heavier. And like after a while, he just like said, "Fuck it."
Just
like,
yeah, whatever, man. Like whatever. But I think that's awesome. I just think that like if as a fan, if you really respect like the artist and the musical integrity behind what they write, they could really write anything and you'd enjoy it. And I think that's kind of where I am with King Gizzard right now. Like they could do anything. And I think they said like they kind of did a little teaser that their next album is going to be like an electronic album. I'm like, dude, fuck yeah. Like let's do it. Like they already got like their, kind of psych rock crazy bangers, but I'm like, whatever, man. Like they're just great musicians and great people.
nice. I'll have to check it out.
Hell yeah.
So last night we were at a Sad Dad Summerfest.
Yeah,
dude, that shit was fucking awesome.
Dude, that was great.
Who are the bands there? There was Phage,
Phage, Born of Ash,
Tarot Blood.
I think I got got it on my phone super quick too. Definitely want to give a shout out to those bands. It ran really, really smooth. Yeah, Phage, Born of Ash, Tarot Blood, Celestial Exile, Echoes in Ashes, The Ephemeral, Apex Alpha, and headlining my boys in Amaya.
Dude, everybody loves the Amaya boys.
They're great.
Yeah,
they're great
awesome.
boys.
They're fucking wild. They love it.
Yeah, they're super great, and honestly, like I really can't thank them enough. Like personally, just I think they kind of gave Daytripper a really good start and foundation to kind of like where we fit in with the music scene. I think that starting off, I think in any type of band, you always kind of got to work the relationships a little bit. You got to network. You got to kind of, make some friends, and it has to come naturally. I think people can kind of tell if you're just kind of out there like beating your chest, look at me, and it's like, I don't know, just trying to be kind of genuine. But the Amaya boys, definitely good friends. And they supported us on like our like second show ever and kind of helped us navigate a little bit.
So how old is Daytripper?
Daytripper, we have actually been a band technically for about 2 years, but we've really only been playing shows for like, I think we actually just celebrated our 1 year anniversary of our first show like in June. So we've only been playing shows for about a year.
Damn, that's crazy. Well, you guys sound good for such a new band.
Thank you.
I like it.
Thank you, man.
I saw you play at that house show, and that was fucking crazy.
Dude, yeah, I love that. That was where we met. That was awesome. We I think like my philosophy with music, especially kind of live, is I'm actually a big theater nerd. I did like a lot of like musical theater in high school. And I think, if you're going to kind of have the performance, you got to have like the music, but also you are acting in a way. You are kind of communicating with the crowd, and it depends on what genre that you're doing. So, I know that like kind of last night at the show, it's very hype. Like, hey, like let's pick this up. What's going on? Oh, you motherfuckers! I want to see somebody kill somebody. But like coming out with that energy is like what you want. You don't want to see a band like that come out and be like, hey guys, we're Slam Death, and we got a couple songs for you. Like, we want to come out like, I want to see somebody fucking kill somebody. And
like it's a show. Like you gotta like continue the show all the way through.
Exactly. And so I think when we were trying to do a Doom band, I didn't really. I know there's a couple Doom bands in the scene, but I wanted to really stand out because I know, man, there is a ton of talented musicians in this scene that are way better at guitar than I am. Like, I'm coming out playing like my bar chords, like one note every couple of seconds and just doing my screams. But I'm like, I just think we just need that extra something to be engaging.
Well, you don't have to be really good to put on a show.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, think about like an actor who is like playing a piano in a movie.
That's true.
Like they're not good at piano, but they put on the show. It looks like they're playing piano.
Hell yeah, exactly. Yeah, but with like the fancy camera work too, and I know obviously like I know like music definitely like comes first, and so that's why we were like, and we actually three of the members, including myself, just learned their instrument starting this band, because I wanted to start like a Doom band. Me and like my best friends for like years, and we really started getting into Doom. I was like, we should like make a Doom band. It'll be easy to learn. It's only a couple notes. And so that was kind of the year of like learn the instrument, write the songs, get really good, and then like master the craft. So like me, my other guitar player, and my drummer, we are all three brand new to our instruments.
Nice.
And so we are like shaking our legs, super nervous, like even with these shows, because now we're kind of like, everyone's like, oh yeah, like play last, or kind of like, oh, play like the last kind of spot. And we're like, oh god, we still feel like the new kids on the block here.
Dude, jump in. Who cares?
Yeah. But yeah, so it was a really awesome start, and I think we wanted to have like, get like the costumes. I have my voice modulator, the like welcome to the show and the Daytripper, and kind of in getting a vibe going. So for people who maybe don't necessarily love Doom, they can still like enjoy the show. But then I think for people who love Doom, kind of give like a holy shit, like these guys are really good. So we really appreciate, and again, like with the Amaya boys, the Born of Ash boys, really appreciate them literally like changing the date of that house show to have us on, because we were going to be on vacation, and they just really like wanted to have us there, and like moved the whole event to like the weekend prior. So cannot thank them enough. Like Those are great boys. Love those guys.
Hell yeah, that's cool. Well, that was a cool show though. I liked it a lot.
Heck yeah.
You like screamed happy birthday and like named all the people whose like birthday it was for.
That
I have a video of that, dude. I literally have videos of that show, and like when you were like give me your weed. You were like looking for weed, and somebody came up and handed you a joint. You're like, oh, thank you, my loyal subject.
Yes.
Yes. I have that video.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I just don't have any way to like, I don't have any way to show it right now. I'm not set up to like just pull it up on the screen. But dude,
I did see those
thinking
videos.
about it now, that makes me want to fucking work on it and like make sure I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if I ever do a highlight of this episode, I'll fucking put this video on it.
Heck yeah. you got your like TV right there. Yeah, if you just kind of had like something that would just be so perfect and kind of be like out of the way of like the cameras. But if you did, if you did like want to show it too, like kind of in the podcast stream.
Well, eventually I'm really just trying to copy Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Hey. Oh.
Fucking dog knocked over the barrier.
Did you knock over the barrier? Oh, you knocked over the barrier.
Well, Give me 1 second. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
of
put
course.
this back up.
Of course.
So before the dog interrupted us, but, I was talking like I wanted to just pretty much copy Joe Rogan's setup. That's been my whole plan this whole time. I mean, that's why I got these mics specifically, and you know, I'm trying to have like the 2 camera angles, but I don't have a video switcher yet.
Oh, okay.
I was told I should do it like an automatic or try it out, but I feel like I'd have to do like some extensive testing on that, so I wouldn't want it to be like awkward, just flipping back and forth real fast. Or
that makes sense. Yeah.
some weird stuff like that. I don't know. I wouldn't trust it. I'd rather just have like 2 solid angles, like left and right.
Yeah, this is definitely pretty good so far. But hey, I mean, you know, kudos to you. Obviously, Joe Rogan has a popular.
He has
podcast.
money. Yeah, like he was a successful fucking comedian and actor, or at least a successful comedian before he started the podcast.
Yeah,
I think he already had done Fear Factor, so he had a lot of like fuck around money. Like, who cares? Like, let's fucking sit in my basement and make a show like this other dude I know. You know, like he just didn't give a shit. You know,
exactly.
But it's like I'm trying to copy his like the setup he has now, and
dude, I'm seriously impressed. I'm really impressed. Like, these are just actual professional mics.
That's the most professional thing I have. I mean, we're recording on like Logitech webcams.
Yeah,
and they're only 1080, so that's why the resolution on YouTube is not that great. Like, as far as like the video, what I need is like I just want to upgrade to the Logitech 4K ones.
Oh,
and
nice.
that way I can get a true 1080p image.
It
would be way better. But I don't know. I might have to get a different USB hub to connect it to my fucking laptop I'm using, and I don't know, man. It's just a lot of money. There's like always a part you need that connects to another part, and like oh my god.
Honestly, like the video editing and recording is just not my forte.
OBS makes it really easy.
Yeah,
I'm using OBS. It's like a little tiny, like pretty much a mobile broadcast like program.
That's what they use. A lot of streamers use for like Twitch, right?
Yeah, because it's pretty much like a video switcher, and you can download it for free. It's like a totally free software. And
that's great.
There's a free version, right? And it has like all the basic functions. So it's like right now I can just take one camera source and crop it and put it where I want on the canvas, and then get the other camera source and I just assign it to the webcams, and then I assign my Yamaha to the audio and put that all on one scene.
That's
technically I could push like a arrow key and change the scenes.
And
assign the cameras differently. So if I had a third camera, I could check this out, and click to the third camera, pull up whatever I want on the TV screen, everybody can see or whatever.
That's cool.
But I think I would want to do it more like just share whatever screen. Like, we'll watch the TV, and then I'll put a screen share for the audience instead. That way they're not trying to watch a TV through a camera.
Yeah, that's true. It can always get hazy and just not the best, especially audio quality too. If you're kind of doing audio from the video, bam, you just pull it right up.
That's one thing that bothers me about the fucking Joe Rogan podcast. I'm surprised they haven't figured that out yet. Every time they show a video, it's super quiet. The audio is different,
I guess I don't know, but I just kind of thought it was more for copyright purposes. They're not trying to kind of show a video so that the person who made that video or kind of did that thing could try to get some money out of Joe Rogan. You showed my video on the podcast. I feel
maybe, but they still show it. It's still there.
It's still just super quiet and
is it a problem
small.
with the actual audio recording, using the specific video rather than taking a recording of the video? Is that what it is?
I honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, I just assumed of there's just certain legal limitations for kind of how much and what is fair use, and kind of blurring out the video or having the audio be super quiet under a certain decibel will get
weird.
You in the clear for the legal oh well, technically this is my show and my thing that I'm putting up, but I'm not 100% sure on it. But that's, I guess, what I kind of had assumed. But I
don't know. I mean, because other people, what about other journalists and stuff? They just show straight up footage, and people who review movies, they just show straight up recordings of the movie on YouTube.
That's true.
So it's I don't think that's it. I think it's just they've neglected to just put the audio into the board. Like just do it.
That's crazy.
Like, it's so
Especially, yeah,
weird.
especially at the highest level of podcast that you could have. Like, how could
It's
you not?
possible.
Yeah,
It's
what?
absolutely possible to make that audio better. Like, I don't know the reason. Like, I don't think the legal thing, that doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah, maybe that's just what I was like telling myself because like you got like some
I
$100
thought about
million
that, you know,
dollar
like, and it could be, I could be wrong. I haven't really like researched that
yeah.
like too much, but it's just confusing. I don't know.
Mhm.
It seems weird.
But I think for your setup, like what you have now is fantastic. I did another podcast. It was like a couple years ago from like one of my other bands, and oh my god, it was like unfortunately the guy like everything was really just like going wrong, like as far as like his technical, just like we had to stop multiple times, and there was like he was like, oh yeah, like I'll interview like the full band, and there was like three of us who came, and we had one microphone that we just kind of had to like pass around to like answer the questions.
No.
And just like one person had like the headphones, so and it was just bad. And then at the end of it we were like, oh, we can't wait to like see it, we can't wait to like upload it, and the whole thing got deleted, and we never got to like listen to it or like watch it. It was just like, sorry guys, I don't know what happened. My computer restarted and it's gone. We're like,
Never saved.
yeah. We were like, you didn't like back it up. Like, is it on? I
Dude,
don't know.
I've felt that before. Actually, yeah. I mean, I've went through my challenges doing this podcast. If you hear the first few episodes, like, it's pretty rough, man. And dude, everything went wrong all the time. Like, it was really hard. I don't know if you know Attila from Arcanaut.
Yes,
He was my first episode.
Oh, okay.
So you can ask him how rough it was. Like, he'll just laugh. Like, yeah, dude, it was pretty. It's pretty raw. Like, I was using a USB microphone and a Focusrite Scarlett, like one of the ones out of that kit, and like,
yeah.
So I had like to plug the USB mic to my laptop, and then I had like an audio interface where I plugged that microphone, and then I had to make like a virtual interface on my laptop to mix the two, and like it was just some fucking weird ass
just
shit.
some jank.
Yeah, and then eventually I just had to like invest in a mixer, like a physical mixer, because I don't want to do that shit on my computer anymore.
Yeah,
I just record the audio straight through OBS, and then I edit the audio in my mastering program just right off the bat. I don't even put it into Logic or anything anymore.
Perfect.
I skip all of that.
Nice. Yeah, honestly, good Yamaha mixer. Like,
yeah,
it does really
but,
well.
Yeah, when I first started trying to do a podcast, it was actually me and my buddy Kevin. And we made this podcast called the Kevin and Spencer Show. Okay. I think it's deactivated on YouTube. I don't think you can watch it anymore. I think he took it down, which is, it's fine. It was okay. it was probably good we didn't leave it up, because he's wild. He says some crazy ass shit.
Oh man.
He was making some weird ass jokes about like, oh, my grandpa might have been a Nazi. It's just like, you're like,
it's like,
dude, I was cracking up.
Yeah, that's
honestly, we did like 5 episodes, or we did 6. The 6th one is where it really got fucked up, and like technical issues just made us quit pretty much.
Gotcha.
But the first 5, it was pretty much Kevin talking about like global political stuff. That's what we wanted to make the show about. Just like talking shit about like political bullshit, and like, like, did you believe this fucking person said this on CNN or whatever? Like, and just talking shit like political commentators.
Nice, yeah.
But it was just way too much research for one. Like, we didn't have enough to talk about.
Yeah. And
most of the episode was just me trying to reel Kevin back. Like, Kevin, you're getting too crazy. Like, come on, dude. Like, I don't think you should be. That was like me doing that the whole time. Like, it was funny. Sure, it was hilarious.
I'm sure you can kind of like, once you're on the topic, there's like a tasteful level of like comedy before diving deep into the trenches, and you're like, oh,
and then that's when I would be like, no, we can't say that stuff.
It's like, reel it back. No,
and he would reel it back, but then he would just go back into some crazy shit. I'm like, no, stop.
Yeah.
But the 6th episode, I had one of my friends call in under a different name, under like an alias. And I tried to keep it from Kevin who it was.
Oh, okay. I was about to ask.
And he like tried to do this weird voice on the phone or whatever, so he wouldn't get recognized. Kevin didn't know him that well.
Okay.
But he was just like talking shit about the podcast the whole time, like on the phone call. just telling us how shitty it was and like how Kevin's just such an asshole and he's such an idiot and like
who is this guy?
yeah, exactly. And I was just laughing my ass off. And it was hilarious, dude. The whole time, Kevin was just like, "All right, dude. Well, I don't know who the fuck you are, but you better shut your fucking mouth. I'm gonna find out." And like, you know, he was joking, you know, but
it's starting to get like threats.
yeah, he was like, well, he was faking the threats, you know, just going over the top on purpose, like being in, like WWE style, you know, like just being going for the show. And when we got finished with the podcast, we went back to listen to it, and the caller's audio didn't get recorded.
No.
So it was just us talking.
Oh, that's
so and that's when we quit. We were like, fuck this. Like, we don't have enough to talk about, and that was our funniest episode when we didn't talk about shit. And it's like, well,
just some comedy gold, but then it just didn't like record.
I wanted to change the direction after that. I decided to get a bunch of musicians on because I knew a bunch of guys in the metal scene. Yeah. I was with Arcanaut at the time. I was doing work with them.
Perfect.
And then, like, right before the first episode of Attila, Kevin was like, "Hey, man, I don't want to do a podcast about music and musicians and stuff. I wanted to do about, like, political stuff."
The political commentary.
Why didn't you tell me earlier? Like, what the fuck? I already scheduled, like 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So my first 4 episodes, I just did them anyways by myself, and that's how it started. I was like, fuck it, dude. I'm just gonna do it anyways. I'll just change the name.
That's awesome. Like, no, I think you're like, at least for like the setup and just how I think fluid you are with keeping the conversation going in like a great pace. I think it's great. And of course, you know, like you said, you had to do a ton of research and also really had to be witty about things and really kind of know where those lines were and kind of keeping on like the, hey, this is like entertainment, but we're also not trying to be talking out of our ass right now. And I think that's a difficult line to balance. So kind of having something that you're more, you know, personally connected with people you're more personally connected with, just kind of talking about genuine experiences. I think it kind of brings the best out of you and your guests.
Well, it's just easier. I don't have to do a lot of research to talk about some fucking podcast I already listened to.
Right.
Like, you know, I don't like, I sometimes bring up like fucking ancient Egyptians and stuff. Well, I actually bring up ancient Egyptians a lot, dude. That shit blows my mind. I fucking can't stop thinking about it sometimes. Some days funny. I'll just be like, how the fuck did they make those vases? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'll just be thinking, like, how do they, like, what happened back then, you know? Like, what the fuck kind of crazy magic did they have? Like,
yeah, right. The ancient sciences.
Who knows?
Man, I'm just, I'm like the worst person to talk to about like current events or pop culture.
Well, I listen to Breaking Points a lot, which is it's, I think it's like the most popular like news podcast on Spotify right now.
Okay,
like, and maybe YouTube, but I don't know. They have a lot of viewers, but they're pretty good about like telling stories without bias. You know?
That's good.
Or if they do have a bias, you know that one of the hosts is conservative and the other one is not.
Yeah, okay.
So it's
they're
like
trying to kind of it's
like a balance a little bit. They don't always agree.
That's I mean, I think that's good instead of just, you know, one or the other like bulldozing there.
Yeah, but they'll go over stories that the main media just won't touch. You know, shit that they won't touch. They won't talk about it, you know, and like, they're like, okay, well, nobody's doing a story on this, and it's pretty fucking crazy. Like, the whole UFO sighting in Vegas, like, none of the major media, like, news networks had any stories about that crazy fucking call in Vegas.
Wow, wild.
Did you hear about that?
No,
Some guy called into 911, and he was like, hey, there's two beings in my backyard. There's 2 things in my backyard. And they're like, sir, you mean people? There's 2 people? Like, who, you know, do you have a description? Yeah. He's like, they're like 8 or 9 feet tall, like maybe 10. I don't know. Like they're like white, like, you know, he was like, I don't know what they are. They're not human.
My boy needs to take a couple pictures right now, dude.
He's like, what? Like the person on the other line, they just didn't know what the fuck to say, you know? Like,
yeah, what else? Like, you're thinking they're like hallucinating or they're having.
There was a bunch of witnesses on that night of seeing something fall from the sky.
Wild.
Yeah, and there's even a police body cam footage of it, supposedly.
Oh, okay.
A lot of it was redacted. So it's like, why did they redact it?
Yeah,
why did they do that?
The chin scratches.
They wouldn't do that for no reason.
Yeah, right. Man, that is gnarly. I know. I didn't hear. How recent was this?
Like a few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. I don't know. It was really recent. But, yeah, it was nuts.
That is absolutely nuts. Yeah, I feel like, man, I'm just like, I like rarely follow like a lot of like that stuff, but it is like interesting to like hear. But and as far as kind of like pop culture, I feel like so many times like I rarely watch like movies or TV shows. Like usually, like I don't play games too much, but I'll kind of get into some games and really just kind of like work on like music. I don't like have don't really have like a lot of TV show or like movie interests. So sometimes when I'm like meeting new people, they're like, "Oh, have you seen this? Have you watched this?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry."
Not into it.
Like a lot of people kind of have like the movie reference, like comedy. I'm like, I just flies right.
So you're just writing music then? That's like your entertainment?
That's kind of like how mostly kind of like what I do. I do like to, I think like besides just kind of music, I think like kind of video games is kind of my one, thing that I kind of really like to do. But I'm not even like that crazy about it.
What have you been playing lately?
Lately I have been, actually it's kind of funny. I like played the South Park game, The Stick of Truth. It's been out for a while, but like one of my buddies had it and he was like, "Oh, this is pretty fun," but it was good. But I'm definitely a big like Dark Souls man. Big the Dark Souls.
I played a few of them and I thought they were really good. I played Demon Souls.
Oh yeah.
When I was younger, like when I was in high school.
Oh, like the PS3.
I didn't get very far, dude. Yeah, it was on my dad's PS3, and I had an Xbox, and he bought a PS3 just so he could have the other games. He didn't really play that much, anyways. He wasn't, sure. Like he plays Borderlands. It's about the only game he plays.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
Me and my brother like carrying him through that shit. But, but it's whatever. He enjoys it. So,
but yeah, shout out to Born of Ash.
Born of Ash is like the
Dark Souls
Dark
theme
Souls
band.
Yeah, Dark Souls theme.
Praise the sun. Here we go.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was really fun.
They have everybody like do the Solarian
do the Solarian
or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, love that, and also just kind of I love like making beats and stuff. I kind of have like a little fun beat album on Spotify right now, and I'm actually almost done making the second one.
Do you want me to put the description? To put it in the description?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can put that in the link.
Absolutely. Shout out to my beats,
my own project.
My own project. I'd like to give a shout out to myself. But I just go by Eric Ellis, just my name. Like I'm not anything fancy. I'm like, here's some stuff. But I am, I'm proud of it, and I think it was just kind of used it as a good stepping stool to like learn how to use a DAW, like learn how to play the piano, kind of like make beats, and just a basic understanding of kind of the mixing and mastering to try to further kind of my musical knowledge.
Yeah, dude, honestly it's a rabbit hole. So you'll never hit the end.
Yeah. No,
you're just gonna keep trying to learn more.
Exactly. But
it's pretty crazy.
I think there's a good quote by Bob Ross that's like, if you ever make anything that you're 100% proud of, you might as well quit because you have nowhere else to go. And so I always like really interpreted that of like because if I may, I think like when I'm kind of talking to like a lot of people, a lot of creators and a lot of musicians, I think a lot of people have like troubles with kind of like finishing things, putting like the stamp on it. And I know it's like that's such a big like deal for a lot of people because there's always something to tweak. There's always something that you want to redo. There's always something that could be added or something that could be taken away. But at some point you just got to kind of put the stamp of approval and let that be just a moment in time and grow from it too. And kind of, I think that was like what I wanted to do with like the Beats album is practice just like finishing something, mixing it, mastering it, putting the album, bam, never touch it again and just enjoy it. And so, and I think kind of like, it's really fun to, hey, let's like jam, let's write a new song. Let's kind of like jam up this new thing. And
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is like, as long as it doesn't sound ugly anywhere,
Mhm.
you know, as long as there's not any frequencies that are fucking ripping your ears apart,
Exactly.
you know, as long as it sounds smooth, like to a point, you know, as long as it's not like there's nothing stabbing you in the ear balls,
Yeah, exactly.
like you're good.
Right.
Like you're okay. Like, could it be better? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does it sound fucking nice? Like, yeah. Like, go ahead and put it out.
Right.
Like, if
Are
know.
you? Would you kind of consider yourself like a perfectionist?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
I'm really bad at that.
Yeah,
I have to constantly just like remind myself, like, stop.
I know.
It's almost to the point of like OCD sometimes, where I'll do something too many times. It's like, okay, just walk away. Like,
Exactly.
I can't keep doing this. Like, I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
Yeah, dude.
It's like,
I feel the exact same way. I feel the exact same way with just like, because in a lot of like, so I was mainly a drummer. I was like a drummer for like 12 years, and that's what I did in like a lot of bands. So kind of becoming like the guitar and lead frontman of Daytripper, it was just kind of this amalgamation of me kind of joining a band, joining a group. You know, the guitarist or lead singer, like they're writing all the songs, and then maybe, I got some like inputs. Like as like a drummer, I think you're really driving a lot of the structure of the song, and so I think I kind of have some really good input about like, hey, like I think we should repeat this, I think we should slow down this, or kind of just have any type of,
You feel like like the actual structure.
Yeah,
like, okay.
I think like drumming
sense.
is a very big structural song, and I know like in past bands when I'm like jamming, if we're hitting a good riff, if I just change the drum part subtly, the rest of the band will kind of hear it and kind of like chug along, and it'll just flow naturally. But I feel like any time I would really give any sort of input, the answer would always just be like, no, the song's written. Like, no.
I think that's why I don't like prog.
Yeah.
It's because like the drum switches too much.
Yeah.
I feel like the drummer just doesn't have a say on that. They just have to like do whatever the fuck the guitarist wanted. Like, 'cause
exactly.
it's all about the guitar.
Exactly.
Like prog.
It's true. It is a very guitar heavy focus, like band with or genre with prog, and of course, me, I'm a doom man. I'm trying to ride this riff for 5 minutes and sink into the chasm of
I'll never change a Black Sabbath song. Like if Black Sabbath comes on, I'm like, nice.
Oh yeah,
like every time. Unless it's changes, I'll change that one. That one's a little too slow for my taste.
I'm not too big into the Dio era of Black Sabbath. I can speak for
there was just something like about like how dark and heavy it was, like when Ozzy was there. It was just like fucking crazy.
It was the birth of metal. Like it
man.
really was.
Yeah.
And we're just Daytripper is basically just Sabbath worshiping.
Every doom band is pretty much just Sabbath. Like
exactly.
Trying to make a different version of Black Sabbath, pretty much.
Yeah. We always with my band we always use the term weedy groove. And that's
weedy groove.
Yeah, a weedy groove. So sometimes if we're kind of doing like a really slow, like primitive man type, just like kind of hitting the throw, but I think with Daytripper, and I think what kind of brings people like back in is kind of the mix of just that like hell or Mizmor or primitive man just thrust of heavy likeness with the amps, but then hitting the weedy groove to kind of get people kind of just jamming a little bit. And
Dude, I've always wanted to like fucking do vocals for a doom metal band. Like as soon as I got into it, I was like, dude, these vocals sound insane. Like
hell yeah.
Like I like the ones that are like the clean vocals, but that are like right on the edge of breaking, like frying, and that they just sound quiet and like super far away, like they're fucking in space, trying to scream at you from the moon. Like those kind of vocals, like that gives me chills.
Hell
it's just
yeah.
like fucking super long ass reverb and like way distant kind of sounding. That shit sounds crazy, dude. I'm trying to think. I think Electric Wizard does it a lot.
I was just about to
like
say
those vocals fucking they sound so cool.
Dude, Electric Wizard's the goat. Like,
I'm just saying, they did it really well. They copied Black Sabbath so well.
Oh yeah. They just added a little like just made it more evil. And honestly, like that was the reason why I learned guitar in the first place. I saw Electric Wizard live They were headlining the Psycho Las Vegas festival in, I think, 2016, or no, it was like 2019. Excuse me, way off. 2019, and like they played like the stadium, so it was almost like a Phoenix Suns arena size stadium, but seeing just Electric Wizard, this doom band, that loud and that heavy,
that big,
it was cataclysmic.
Dude.
I don't think I've ever seen a heavier
Holy
show in
shit.
my life, and that was like, dude, I got to pick up a guitar. Like, this is so epic. So,
That's
dude,
awesome.
shout out to them. Definitely a big. I mean, we just kind of played with Conan as well, and I really love like their vocal style. They just kind of have like that yell. Like, it's not really a scream. It's definitely not singing, but he's just kind of has the like, ah! Like,
Dude, I love that.
The actual just yell
Hell
with
yeah.
like the blitzed and reverb. It's just like coming back at you. So I think like the vocals definitely have a huge part in every doom band, because a lot of the music is very,
Yeah,
very
man.
simplistic with diving into the tone, but
Pretty much everything has to sound big. Like, it has to be, everything has to have like a massive size, like as far as like the sound spectrum goes.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it means you have to like leave space for everything though. Like, the drums have like their space,
oh yeah,
and like everybody plays on a different, on a different level, so that you can hear everything just as big. Like,
I couldn't agree with you more. I like really grew up on Pink Floyd, and I think that like that band really gave me a good representation of space in music. Like, not everything needs to be happening all at one time. Like, you kind of let the music breathe a little bit.
yeah.
And there are like these moments where it is like so soft, and like, although the drums, it's not really like a drum fill, but like just what he's hitting is so exact. And that's kind of how we feel in Daytripper, of like, we're just kind of hitting like some notes, but we got to let the deepness of the amps like hit your soul, and just giving it that extra second to like let the music breathe a little bit.
Yeah, man,
I
like,
completely agree.
I've always wondered, like, what would Pink Floyd have sounded like, like, if the song and album structure didn't exist, like if it was a long form,
Man.
because nowadays you see like 10-12 minute songs, like, no problem. Like, that shit didn't happen back then, because
Yeah.
it was on vinyl. You had to
yeah.
get so many songs on a vinyl, or your record label just wouldn't fucking sign you again.
Right. Yeah.
know?
No,
And you can't
it's
play a
true.
12-minute song on the radio, at least
Yeah.
not back then.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, if they could write like fucking 20-minute, 30-minute songs, like, what would it have sounded like?
honestly, like, that's a great question. I
I
think
think
really
about that sometimes.
the only real reference that I'm sure you kind of we can think of is just back in the day with orchestration in the classical music, because like I play violin and Daytripper. I like was kind of raised, and that was my first instrument playing classical violin.
Oh, nice.
And like I felt that, like, man, just like I hear a classical song and either think like, oh, okay, you kind of have like this like preppy like dun, 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 like a very like kings and queens sort of, oh yes, thank you so much for bringing me my tea, sire.
Dude, it sounds good.
But then you just have like these epic, so long, just ballads that like I legitimately cry sometimes when I hear like Tchaikovsky or like Vivaldi's like Four Seasons. Like those I think are one of the best like representations of like, man, the music truly has a life of its own, and there's like a story being told. Like it's not like really catchy, like certainly catchy moments, but like I feel like Pink Floyd, I can almost imagine like this like orchestration like level that Pink Floyd like could have had if they were just truly free form.
But they had to sign on to a rock record label,
Yeah.
and they had to do the whole radio bullshit, and like to get on the Billboard charts and fucking sell vinyls, and like if it was just pure fucking art and they could just sell it on YouTube, like holy fuck. But
Yeah.
that just leaves you to wonder, like, how many artists are out there that are doing crazy shit that just aren't signed,
Oh yeah. No,
Like there's so many fucking geniuses out there that just don't want to deal with the fucking music industry. You know,
exactly.
It's like
I agree. Like there's, and I think that's kind of why I haven't really been listening to a lot of the mainstream music nowadays. Because man, like you'll hear like
yeah,
just a great album by someone who has like 100 monthly listeners on Spotify, and you listen to, you're like, oh my god, this is fucking epic. Like one example that I like to tell everyone, and they're actually like the back patch of my battle vest, but there's like this Russian local band called Bong Tower, and they are phenomenal.
Bong Tower.
Bong Tower. They have like, so it's like a doom band, but holy shit, like they do so much research per their albums, and they're all very themed, and like they tell like a story. So like the first album is like the story of like the USA versus the USSR in like the race to space. And so there'll kind of be like these clips in between like the songs about like blasting off in 3, 2, and like kind of like arguments and like gunfire in between like the songs,
like
and
news articles,
yeah,
like shit like that,
exactly.
like radio.
And like their second album recently came out, and it is like it's like an hour and a half. It's long, and it is like the journey of like discovering all of the planets in the solar systems, and they kind of go into detail in between like the songs about like the rovers that went out to like Venus and like the history behind it. I'm like, dude, there's like maybe like less than 1,000 people listening to this band like in the world, and they're like one of the greatest like conceptual doom bands, and they are fucking heavy, man. So like I bought their back patch, and they like messaged me personally. They're like, dude, thank you so much, like we're like friends, but
Dude,
and so
awesome.
I'm like, dude, I'll rock your back patch, man. Fuck it, like people need to listen to this band. But
well, after this podcast episode,
dude,
they'll have millions of
of followers.
Yeah, right,
dude. But I do think it is unfortunate. So because I did order like their vinyl from them, but it like just never came because of the kind of the ongoing war with Russia and the Ukraine. Like they just
they're in Russia.
Yeah, they live in Russia. They're like a local band in Russia, and them personally, they kind of gone on the record on their social media saying like they don't like they're not in favor of the war at all.
Most people aren't.
Yeah,
I feel like most Russians aren't. They just don't want to fucking say it. Like,
yeah.
Because it comes with consequences.
I know. Yeah, I mean, especially when fucking
like
big Daddy Putin is looking over your shoulder, I'm sure I'd be like, fuck it, like,
yeah.
But
I mean, because they're just knocking on people's doors. And they're just like, oh, you're in the army now.
Yeah. Holy mother of God. That's
you're
insane.
And because you live in Russia and you've lived in Russia your whole life, you're like, fuck, I guess I'm in the army now. That's like the culture.
Holy smokes.
And it's just like, of course you don't agree with it. It's fucking unethical, inhumane. Like,
yeah, right. It's fucking war.
It's war.
Like,
it's like war on the civilian level. It's like we are dragging our civilians to war too. It's like
fucking
holy
terrible.
Fuck.
Holy shit. And yeah, they can't, like the band Bong Tower, like they can't even like mail out like the albums out of Russia to the United States. Like they like can't do that. And so like they're basically like kind of emailed us like, hey, if you want like your money back, like we'll try to like figure it out. Like we pretty much spent all the money. But I'm like, I don't care, like whatever. Like then they're such like a small band too, and I'm like, hey, just I'm sorry, boys. Like, I'm sorry that your country is going through this shit. Like, I don't fucking need my like $50 refund. Like, just take care of yourselves, boys. Like, I love you.
Yeah.
Wishing you guys the best.
Here, I'll buy another one.
Yeah, right.
Like, fuck.
But
it's
any
like how much has that like stifled their growth? You think? Like that has to have had an impact on their music and like what the how fast they can grow on social media and stuff like that. Like. Just because of where their servers are located or something like that.
Exactly. No, it's true. Like, I didn't even really think about that. That's crazy. And I
hope they're still making music.
I hope
they
so.
didn't quit.
The second album like just came out like actually it came out like the beginning of like last year.
Okay,
But
so
like,
that would make sense.
yeah. So, and they, they put like a lot of time and like money into like the whole research and like the plotting of this. Like, it's
Yeah.
an hour and 30 minutes. Like, this is a
Yeah, dude, that
long
sounds
fucking
like a
record. But
yeah, that
I'm
sounds like an endeavor. For
I'm
sure.
praying for those boys. Well, our Daytripper album, I think it's going to be clocking in at about an hour and 15 minutes.
All right.
So 7 songs of
Just
pure
7 songs?
Yeah, 7 songs, an hour and 15 minutes.
All right, we'll have to pick up a CD. My truck still has a CD player, so
Oh, nice.
I can pop it in.
Dude, I gotta say, I don't think we're making CDs. I think we're just
Really?
gonna like
Just digital?
I think we're just gonna do digital and try to sell vinyls. I think that like
Oh, okay.
I just think that
Nobody has a CD player anymore.
nobody buys it. No, I mean maybe like some people. I mean I get like people are like collectors and some people do, but man, every other band I've been in, like we've made CDs, and I mean besides like the album release, like we don't really sell like anymore after that, and now I just have like a closet full of boxes of like 100 of past bands' albums that I don't listen to. So I think like we're trying to, I obviously the goal is to make good music, and I don't know, I'm not really trying to like be famous or like tour a lot. I just kind of want to have like fun and kind of be like this mysterious presence in the scene and play with my favorite doom band. So I want to try to be as like net neutral as I can with the funds. So I think it's going to kind of be more like within our budget if we just don't even bother with the
mysterious?
CDs. Yeah,
like you're like, what do you mean mysterious? Like you leave in your robe and then you come back and you're like, hey guys, how was Daytripper? Like, did I miss him? Are they still playing? Yeah. You're like, oh, you missed Daytripper. Like, you have a couple people in on it.
Yeah, and obviously I'm on like the podcast right now. Like, hey, trying to be mysterious, everybody. Like, I'm coming on, spilling my beans.
Nobody listens to this.
Yeah, right. This like, man, I listened to some like obscure podcast. Man, that dude from Daytripper was on there. But
like one of the very
I think
early
like
episodes.
I think kind of like another piece of my music philosophy is that like I don't like to play a lot of shows.
Yeah.
I like to kind of have, maybe one show every couple of months just to kind of keep the fun and keep like the hype too. And hey, it definitely works for like a lot of other bands like playing and I get it. I've definitely talked to a lot of people in like the music scene. One of the guitar players from the Dead World Reclamation, Dakota, I know we've talked hours about like just musical like analysis and kind of how we like to go about, and we almost have polar opposite ideas. Like he just is like, you need to play shows, you need to play all the time, you need to get your name out there, you need to like meet new people, yada yada yada.
I don't think so.
I'm just like, dude,
I don't think I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't agree with that as well.
I think you need to be out there, but I don't think that's the key. I don't think that's like your ticket. Like, it's not, maybe like in the 80s, like getting out there and seeing people, that was how you did it. But nowadays it's like all the focus has shifted to online shit.
Exactly.
But if you're not in the scene, nobody's going to like remember you like for who, like your actual show. Like there's something about going to a live show and people still hold on to that experience of going out and seeing somebody play instruments. Like there's something about that experience. People still pay for it and they still go out and do it. That's always going to be there.
It'll never die. I don't think it'll really ever.
Hopefully it doesn't die because it's important.
I think, I agree. I mean, I think maybe certain genres will die, but super quick, like kind of almost, there's like this brand new, like the like Apple Vision goggles that like do and like they're just like, oh, this will like change the way that you see live music and be like right there with your friend. I'm like, dude, no it won't. No, dude.
Well, yeah, it will change the way you do that.
Yeah, maybe for that person who never goes to a live event, it's like, okay, you can kind of check this out, but like, dude, live music will never be replaced.
It'll change the way you do that when they make it mandatory.
Yeah,
that you have to do. Like there are no live concerts anymore.
Suck.
Not allowed.
I don't know how.
No more mass gatherings of people.
Oh, God. Good Lord.
Like holy fuck.
People will riot at that
like some
point.
1984 shit.
But yeah, I agree though. Like kind of with what we were chatting about earlier. Like like you're no one's going. No like big executive at Capitol Records is gonna go see you down at the Yucca Tap Room and be like,
there's no scouters.
guys, I found him.
There's no scouts in the metal scene. Like,
exactly. Like, I think it's all about building relationships, and having like a strong online presence is important. And I think just making good music. I think the music like really speaks for itself. Like, if it's good and people like it, I think people are listening to it.
It doesn't even have to be good. It just has to be listenable. Like, you can just, if it's listenable, if it's catchy, you can listen to it. It's like easy to fucking listen to. I'm not talking about Doom. Doom has to be good.
Doom, okay, yeah. Agreed.
Doom has to be good.
Agreed.
Most metal has to be good. Like, if it's bad metal, it's gonna get sniffed out pretty quick. Like, people are gonna figure it out. Like, you can play all the shows you want, and you can keep getting on bills if you're not good. But you'll never really make it if you're not making good music in metal.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah, exactly. But, like, a lot of other genres, too, like, man, all the hyper pop stuff going on right now.
It's just catchy.
Arguably, it's, like, terrible. But, like, it's great. It is catchy, and it has that, like, it scratches that itch for a lot of kind of the newer, like, listeners. And I don't listen to a lot of rap. I definitely did in the past, but I'm just not really too big of a fan of kind of like the modern rap scene. It's just very like lazy, I think, and that's like that's like the point. And like, shout out to them, they're making what they want to make, but I just kind of feel like this is just too like leaned out for me, and I don't really feel any passion. I just kind of feel like nothing.
Well, I don't know. Rap is kind of weird, though, because most of it's, like, lyrical.
Yeah.
And you have to have a lyrical rhythm on top of a musical rhythm.
Yes.
There's, like, a totally different beast there that doesn't even appear in most metal. And I think that, like, even back in the day, there were a lot of people being lazy in rap. Like, you can be lazy in making a poem. You can make a poem and then put beats behind it. Like, that's lazy, and people are doing that today still. It's just a lot easier to advertise it.
Yeah.
And, like, say, like, oh, check out this fucking rap I made. And it's literally just, like, some shitty poem on a beat.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, my God, dude.
Doesn't even really have to be on the beat.
He paid $3,000 to get it out there to 1 million people for whatever. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
They're just paying for the marketing. But it's still laziness. It's just a lot easier to market your shit nowadays.
Right. And I think that with rap music, like, it's almost less about how good or the music is, but having the persona and creating like your character and having your riz, your swag.
Been around for a long time.
It's like just like the clouds and like, what can I do to stand out like amongst every other rapper? Because just having like that look or having that type of like personality, that character that you're building is almost like 70% of the battle, in my opinion, with being a successful rapper.
Well, I mean, if you can live your character, if you are your character,
that's
like,
true. Yeah,
awesome, beneficial. Like, you're good. I think Post Malone he is his character.
Yeah.
Like, he is his personality. Like, in front of the fucking camera. Like, he doesn't change when the camera's on. And that's cool, but that's rare. Most people, they have to make a character and fucking follow up on that and like make it happen. And like, once people are in love with that character and who it is, like,
now it's becomes
that's
a part
how
of
it
you.
has to be on camera. You know, if you.
And I'm not hating on it or anything.
It's just a different strategy.
It's just a different
strategy. Look at Kiss. You think Gene Simmons acts like fucking whatever the fuck his name is on stage? Like, he doesn't act like that in real life.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
He's some, like, just fucking boring old, like, kind of an asshole kind of guy. It's like businessman.
Exactly.
And then on stage, he's just like, all right, I gotta get in the fucking zone. Here we go. And he like puts on all the makeup and the fucking armor or whatever, spikes and shit.
It's the shock rock, and it is. I love like looking at different genres of music because it's all there's a whole different scene, a different strategy for like getting your music out there. There's a different way that people like intercept the music. And I think that what really kind of put the nail in the coffin for me as far as just kind of listening to a lot of rap was the live experience. Like, I actually loved Post Malone live. I thought he did a great job.
You seen him live?
I have seen him live. It was a great time. I didn't really know a lot of his music. He played.
I just know his voice.
Yeah.
I couldn't name a single song, but I know his voice. Like
Yeah.
as soon as it's a Post Malone song, I'm like, oh, this is Post Malone. Like I can see him with all his tattoos on his face, he's just singing away with his fucking sad eyes and whatever.
And he did a great job. I was really impressed, but I saw him at the Pot of Gold Festival. My like friend actually won tickets to this like 3-day festival. Nice. And so we went, we were like, oh great, we're getting in for free. But oh my God, it was the worst festival experience like I've ever had. But
Post
in my
Malone
life.
was good.
Post Malone was great, and so
what was the experience?
So
Tell me. I gotta hear this.
So this is definitely kind of a funny story. So it was a 3-day festival.
Yeah.
Post Malone actually played on night 3 or night 2, but night 1 headlining was Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube. Great. I'm excited.
Sounds cool.
Sounds cool. So me and my friend, we roll up. It's about like 4 p.m. You know, we're looking pretty good. And there's just like we have to redeem our tickets at the box office. We got to get the wristbands for the 3-day pass. So we get in line and we actually kind of like even cut the line. We kind of were like, hey, that line's like a little shorter. Let's kind of scoot in. So we even had like the advantage. And then like 2 hours go by and we are still in line, just like waiting. And now it's like 6 p.m. Like we're inching up there, but we're like, holy shit! Like, what is going on at the box office? And then it hits, I think, about 7, and now it's like, oh my God, the headliners are going to go on. There is like 1,000, like so many people still trying to get their wristbands, and now people are like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube. Like, and now the mayhem is starting to happen.
Jeez.
So the like security guards just like they think like to themselves, oh, now would be a good time to put up the gates. So they're just like holding these gates above their head, like pushing people out of the way to now then build a gate that's like, dude, you guys should have done this right when you got here. And like people are asking me in line, they're like, dude, I'll give you $100 if I can cut in line with you. And I just am like, dude, it's fucked. I can't. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna even get in there. And I finally there was like a journalist who like came by, or someone who's like writing like a little report on the festival. She's like, you know, and she even told me too. She was just kind of like, oh, you know, I'm here just writing about the festival. How's your experience? I'm like, dude, I've been here for like 3 hours and it's hell. She was like, oh, I was fully expecting to just write another positive bullshit review. I thought this was going to be easy.
This is your big scoop, lady.
Yeah, I'm like, this is the scoop. She's like, where's the press booth? And I'm like, right over there. And there's like just it's like some like shitty cardboard sign that just says press booth, and it's just filled with garbage. Like no one's there. And she's like, how do I get in? I'm like, I don't know. No one's getting in. And so finally, like, we get up to get our wristbands. It's like 7:30, and there's like maybe 5 people behind this booth of what seems like 1,000 people behind this. And dude, they're in tears. Like they're actually crying, like trying to service everybody. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they're like, the thing is running slow, but we got our wristbands and we like run in there, and Ice Cube is like playing, and we're like, whoa, like, I thought he was like last. Like, where's Snoop Dogg? Like, wasn't he supposed to be playing? So then it's like all the set times got completely fucked. We headed over to go see Warren G, and he played 2 songs, and he's like, I'm sorry, y'all. Like, shit's fucked right now. That's my time. I gotta go. And we're like, oh my God, like what happened? And then like Cardi B was supposed to play, and she like canceled last minute because I guess like she was like, yo, I need more money. And they were like, no. And then she's like, all right, I'm not playing. So we were really excited to see Cardi B kind of in like the height of her, you know, bouginess, but that got canceled. And like, man, a lot of the other rappers that were just kind of like your typical, you know, face tatted rappers like Lil Pump, Ski Mask, The Slump God, Young Thug, they were just bad. Like it just sounded really bad, and like they weren't even really rapping.
Well, this is Phoenix, right?
Yeah, this was Phoenix.
Phoenix,
yeah.
Arizona.
Yeah, Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, nobody gives a fuck about Phoenix, Arizona. That's the problem, really. If
that's true.
if this was a show in LA, they would have prepared. They would have been they would have been way more like into it, like ready to fucking go. Like this is just another one of their fucking stops. They don't give a fuck about this place. That's the problem with this place and like national acts. Like they see Phoenix, Arizona, and they're like, who the fuck gives a shit about Arizona?
You
like,
know, honestly,
that fucking red ass state.
Honestly, that you're
fuck.
kind of like opening my eyes up a little. That actually makes sense. There was like another time I was at like the state fair and like Little Pump was playing and I'm like, hey, fuck it, like I'll go in for free. And like he was slated for like over an hour and he played for like 15 minutes and left. And I was
he's
like,
tired. He wants to go to sleep.
Yeah, he's like, bro, I'm diving down. So, but like, it just, man, I really just respect like some great rappers who take pride and like actually like rap at you. Like I love Danny Brown. He's so incredible live. He absolutely destroys it.
Danny Brown, that sounds so familiar.
He's like the guy with the
dude, yeah, no, I watched his Joe Rogan podcast. He had an episode on Joe Rogan, dude.
Yeah,
that guy's fucking nuts,
dude. Yeah, he's
crazy.
He's a crazy bastard for sure.
He's like genuinely fucking insane.
Smoking and drinking, dude. It's his vibe. It's a vibe. But
that's crazy.
Dude, he raps at you for an hour straight, and he
enjoys
stop.
it.
He loves
he
it.
Fucking loves it. Yeah.
So
tired or not, he fucking enjoys doing it. Like. There's some people who fucking get into it and they're just like, man, this is not what I wanted. Like I wanted to party. I didn't want to fucking go on the road.
Right.
Fucking be in front of a bunch of people doing this shit every single day. Like,
yeah, right.
No, like some people are like, hell yeah, put me on stage. Fucking get me in front of everybody. Like I want to run that shit. Like they love it. And like that's great. Like those people you can tell. But like I said, Phoenix, Arizona is just like another. They don't know how big Phoenix is.
Yeah.
They don't understand, like, Phoenix is literally one of the biggest cities in the country. Like, this place is fucking massive. There's too many people here. Like
I know, dude, yeah. There was like, dude, so for the past 3 years, there have been 80,000 plus people to move here every year for like the past 3 years.
Not surprising.
Insane.
Not surprising.
And like, it's so funny. Me and my friend were literally talking about that like the other week about like Phoenix, and it is kind of like an awkward spot for people in the tour because it is kind of like far away, like like, oh, you got to travel like 6.5 hours from like California or like 6.5 hours from like New Mexico, and like going to Colorado's a bitch. So it's like, oh, you know, people might stop in like Vegas.
You're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, like,
but it's so big.
Yeah, like it's like, dude, there's such a huge like scene, but I just think, yeah, for people who don't really know like the city or don't really know the culture, they can just be like, Phoenix.
There's not
like,
much
culture
in Phoenix. Honestly, it's a pretty blank, like.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, there's not much culture unless you're looking for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no Phoenix culture. It's like there's Mexican culture, there's like the metal scene, there's like fucking a rap scene. I guess there's like a minimal rap scene here. There's way more metal than rap, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But
at least out here, there's a lot of fucking EDM out here too, for sure. There is a shit.
But there's no Phoenix accent.
Yeah,
you know, there's like a Chicago accent. There's a fucking New York accent. There's like. You know, there's a California accent. You know, there's no Arizona. There's no Phoenix accent. Like, people just come here to fucking work.
They
come here to make money, and then they live, and it's easy, and you get trapped.
That makes sense. I think I maybe was more so maybe meaning just kind of like there is like a thriving art community.
There's art here for sure.
Art is
I
maybe
think,
more.
I think the art
the
comes from like all the people that are here that have come from other places, and they see all the other art, and it's like kind of inspiring to see like certain like different things you haven't seen before, like different cultures. There's so many different cultures just in Phoenix, like trying to like mesh and create something. Like there's a lot of different like collaborations and stuff in Phoenix.
Hell yeah.
But,
are you from Phoenix?
Yeah, dude, I've lived here my whole life.
Oh wow, okay, nice.
Well, like 4 years I was in the Navy, so I guess that doesn't count.
Right. Yeah,
so minus 4 years, but
nice.
I came every time I took leave, it was to Phoenix.
Heck yeah,
so.
Nice. Yeah, I was born in Michigan actually, but I mean when I
How
was
long did you live there?
oh, I mean I was like 1 when we
Oh.
moved down.
Oh,
So
okay.
like I always just like I'm from Arizona. Like I'm my 1 year of Michigan, a 1-year-old's like ah man, decided to make the move.
All those great memories.
Pack up my bib, pack up my pacifier. I'm out of here.
I remember when I first learned to pick up the bottle by myself.
Yeah.
It was cold.
That's so fun. That's so funny. But yeah, you do meet so many people here that weren't born here. And I think a lot of like with my parents, like my dad was like, dude, I never want to fucking shovel snow again.
My mom was born in New Jersey. My dad was born in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
totally different. My dad was actually he was a Air Force brat, and he moved around.
Oh,
a lot.
okay.
He lived in the Azores for a while.
Oh.
It was like some islands out in the middle of the fucking Pacific, middle of nowhere. Dude.
Jesus.
Just tiny little islands, just literally like hundreds and hundreds of miles from land. Like,
Wow.
And he said he could ride his bike around the island like within a few hours.
No way.
Yeah,
oh my
like
gosh.
like a few hours you could ride around the whole island on a bike.
Oh my god.
It's
That's
just
like so like
it's
fascinating
so
but so
small,
terrifying at the same time.
It's just a little airfield on an island.
Wow.
And like they allied with the US cuz protection, you know.
That makes sense.
So,
it's like we're looking vulnerable over here.
He
like,
said they got the Star Wars movie in the theater. They closed the school for the day.
Oh
so
my
all the kids
gosh.
could go see Star Wars
that's
because it
so
had been out
cool.
for like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But they had to send the film over to the Azores.
Oh my god, that
It
is.
had been out for like maybe not 6 months, but maybe like a month. It had been
Gotcha.
out for a month already. So like they had seen the reports and everything about how it's like fucking crazy box office breaker. They see the newspapers and they're like, oh my god, like
We
this
gotta get
movie's
that movie.
Yeah, dude, this is a good movie. Like we gotta get
That
this shit.
is
They closed the
so-
school for it. And
That's
everything.
so funny. Like, yeah, just the fact that Star Wars got shipped to that island. This is
Yeah.
like a national holiday. We need the kids out of school.
Pretty much.
We're closing the streets down.
Yeah.
We're getting to the theater. Oh,
Like the
my-
first Star Wars movie.
That's really, that's really, really
This is-
funny.
yeah, it's hilarious. Like just such a small little island. But
Man.
he said they used to ride around and get like a bottle of wine from like some deli or something. They buy a bottle of wine out of the back like drive-through window. Or
Oh,
they
nice.
had like
dude.
a little takeout window, and the high school
Dang.
kids would like give them money through the window and get a bottle of wine and
That's so funny.
go ride your bike, just chugging a bottle of wine around the island.
That's so funny. That's just do a little drive by for hey, can I get a
kinda
panini
wanna-
and a bottle of wine, please?
I kind of want to go visit
Mm-hmm.
and see if I can relive my dad's memory.
Oh,
Just
wow.
go
Man, I
go
wonder-
buy a bike over there and just
I wonder
ride
how
it.
like tough it would be as like a tourist to just kind of like get there. I mean,
I'm pretty sure I could get there.
just
I
like
mean, as a U.S. citizen, you could probably go visit the Azores.
gotcha. Okay.
I'm a veteran. I don't know if that would help.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, with the Navy.
Maybe.
Was your dad kind of like an inspiration for you to kind of join the Navy, or did that kind of come?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I knew it was an option because he was in the Navy. I
Mhm.
was like, well, I could just go join the Navy. Like, my dad did it. I could
Okay.
do it. My grandpa was in the Air Force for fucking 20-something years. Like, I don't
Wow.
know. He lived in the military, like, his whole life, pretty much. And even out of the military, like, he still did work for the Army Corps of Engineers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a civilian branch of the Army that builds for the Army.
Okay.
You know, in the Air Force and stuff like that. So they do all the buildings and shit, and he still worked for them when he got out of the Air Force after all that time. So
Wow.
he just worked for the government for so fucking long. And then my dad was only in the Navy for like 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
but he was an electrician in the Navy. That's where he learned his trade.
Okay.
And he got into like low voltage and like, you know, fire alarms and like security. He's doing security now still, like doing cameras and like key cards and shit like that. Like, so like that's where he learned his trade. So like I knew that as a kid. So when I went into like college, I tried to go to like community college,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to go for art.
Okay.
How smart, right?
Yeah, that's.
I took a drawing class. I took photography. I took
It's a good, a good investment to make.
yeah,
in the college years.
yeah, I didn't do so well in like the normal classes. You had to take like, you know, English.
Yeah, that was.
They just
man.
wanted you to write papers. It's like, I don't want to write papers. Like, I think this is stupid. I'm never going to do this outside of this classroom.
If only ChatGPT existed back in the day.
And the thing is, like, what was crazy though, and like, I don't think about it often, but like, it's kind of clicking in my head right now. Like when I was a freshman in high school, I had this teacher named Miss Canaday.
Okay.
And she taught this ridiculous course in English, and it was like college level English, because I was in AP English when I was a freshman.
Oh wow!
And
oh my gosh,
because like my teachers in grade school recommended it because I could read really well. Like, oh yeah, I like to read. Who would have thought? Like, you know, my imagination's fucking crazy. Like, I like reading Harry Potter. Like, I read all the fucking books. Like,
nice.
You know, but my teachers always recommended that I would be in advanced English in high school. So when I did that, I got in Miss Canaday's class, and she took her job fucking seriously, dude. She really wanted to elevate your education, like, beyond high school. And
nice.
You're like, fuck, this is hard, dude. Like, she was
see.
ruthless, man.
Okay.
Like, her assignments were just really, like, brutal. And she would grade your pages, like, really critically. You know, you would have to, like, read... Like, you would have to do an analysis on every single chapter of the book. Like, you know, in like an in-depth analysis of like at least 5 or 6 paragraphs.
Okay.
Of like what this chapter meant, what the author was trying to say with this chapter, and like how it connected to previous chapters. And it's like, what the fuck am I doing, dude? I'm a freshman in high school.
Yeah, that's
I'm like,
brutal.
holy fuck. And we even watched Star Wars. We watched the first Star Wars in class. And we had to do a report on that. And like break down how Luke Skywalker fit the epic hero formula, and like how his special birth and how the challenges he went through like made the story technically an epic. You know what I mean?
See. Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
It worked. It fit the formula perfectly.
Yeah.
So it like opened my eyes to like writing and like film, and like that's when I really got into film. And I can't read a book anymore without like analyzing it, like hardcore.
Yeah.
Like
you've got that ingrained
like
in you now.
that line, like it's on its own for a reason. Like I know, like you know, I'm always thinking about like what the fuck is the writer trying to say, or the author, and like film is just another degree of crazy because there's so many more moving parts. Like you have the director and the writer and the fucking cinematographer and like the fucking even the costume design is totally different. Like. So
exactly. And I think just like with anything, with any type of media, like the more that you get into it, the more that you're passionate about it, the more that you understand it, you kind of can have that lens where you kind of look past and try to kind of understand like the artists, like why did they do a paintbrush? Why did they have this note? Why did they have this like line? There's so much.
I like to look at that kind of knowledge as like a double-edged sword though, because like I can't just watch a movie and enjoy it anymore. I can't just like look at a movie and be like, oh yeah, that was really cool. Like I that was cool. Like I like the robots fighting each other. That was fucking neat.
Yeah,
you know, I hear people who don't know talk about movies, and they just seem like they enjoy every single movie. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm so jealous. Like I hate every single movie.
Oh,
you know, like,
that's brutal.
Like all the Transformers. Except the first one was all right. It's watchable because it was new, and it's like. Shia LaBeouf was young, and he was like figuring it out, and it was raw, and it was like really good. Like I liked that movie. Like Megan Fox she's like hot, but she really sucks, dude. She's like Stephanie Meyer. She can't change her face.
You know, I'm sure that she was hired based on her
absolutely
looks,
100%,
not necessarily her talents.
Yes, 100%, dude.
That's so
her
funny.
talents and like probably her age. She was like the hottest one of her age,
right?
You know,
exactly.
And it's just like, but
that's so
like,
funny.
All
that
the
you
other
say
ones
that.
after that, totally unwatchable. Like,
yeah.
Dude, I fucking just roll my eyes at every scene. It's like because I know what they're doing, and it's nothing. Like they're literally just fighting robots on a screen. Like that's the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, it sucks too because I've only seen like Transformers 1. I haven't really seen any of the other ones.
You don't have to.
But yeah, and I really haven't seen a lot of like the Marvel movies either. Because I just kind of like I do actually love reading like the comic books and kind of have like the respect, but I don't know. It just all is kind of the money grab, you know, big dudes like big robots fighting, and that's like your story.
Honestly,
good night.
Even with comics, there's only a few Marvel comics I have. There's as far as like the Marvel heroes go, I have a couple Marvel publications that are like, like a rendition of a book, like Ender's Game is a book.
Oh yes.
There's Marvel did the publication for Ender's Game.
Okay.
So I have 4 Ender's Game comics. They're fucking dope, dude. They're really good.
Hell yeah.
The art's cool, and like it's like a comic version of the fucking game or the book. It's really neat. It's closer to the book than the movie.
Okay.
The movie is kind of lame. I didn't like it.
Okay, that's a bummer.
It was really, really bland. There was nothing too crazy about it other than like the 0G fighting scenes. Like those are really cool, and I really liked like the graphics. And honestly, it was okay as a movie if like the book never existed.
Oh, okay.
But like if you know what it could have been, it's like so disappointing. It's like, dude, like they really downplayed a lot of like how intense it was on Ender himself.
Dang,
like,
that's
he
unfortunate.
Fucking cracked. He broke. They fucking broke this kid, and they didn't portray that in the movie at all. It just made it seem like he was under stress, and oh no, like I got to do what they tell me. Like no, in the book, he was by the end of it, he was just like, fuck it, kill them all.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, holy shit, did he just do that? Like, fuck.
Damn. I've definitely been more of, and like I said, don't really watch too many movies, but I have been like a really big fan of this like one director. He did you see that his most recent movie was Beau is Afraid?
I've never
okay. And then he also did The Lighthouse with
sounds familiar.
It was with man, let me
well, I was saying even the Marvel comics I have, like,
oh yeah.
I only have Daredevil because that story is fucking sick, and Daredevil's like my favorite Marvel hero. He's just like a normal dude who has like sonar in his head. That's his only power, because he can see behind him pretty much.
Yeah, just like super.
And like, yeah, he's just aware of the physical world around him, and it can even be blocked by confetti. If somebody shoots confetti, like he's fucked.
Oh man.
Yeah, the Punisher figured that out.
Weird.
Yeah,
okay.
I have one of the issues. The Punisher comes out and shoots a confetti gun at him, and it's like, he fucking decks him, like takes him out, like ties him up.
Oh god, yeah. What a gnarly.
Yeah, Frank Castle's fucking nuts, dude. That guy's crazy. But I have a couple, like just the Daredevil series. I think I have 2 Daredevil series, and then I have like a Best of Deadpool, and then I have Journey into Mystery. It's like a lot about Loki and Thor.
Oh, okay.
It's like the Asgard kind of side. And then I have this series called Fear Itself.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Fear Itself. I don't know if you can see the green books. It's a pretty thick chunk.
Oh.
And it's like, I didn't realize it at the time. This was when I was new into collecting comics. I was like, Fear Itself sounds really cool. So I bought the first one. And it's about like Thor or Odin's brother is the god of fear. And he was locked away under the ocean, like for I don't know, like for what or like how he was locked away. But the Red Skull, his daughter, so like this neo-Nazi fucking Red Skull looking bitch.
Yeah.
She unlocks his door, and she's gonna try to harness this power, like a fucking idiot Nazi bitch she is. Like, it's like the fucking, the Ark of the, Ark of the Covenant all over again. Like from Indiana Jones. It's just like that kind of, She doesn't die or anything. She actually gets granted a bunch of power for unleashing him, but she's still like under his control now. Like he's like, yeah, right. Like you're all afraid. That gives me power. Like the more fear I make, like the more power I have. So he goes on a rampage across the world, just fucking up major cities, trying to make people afraid.
Oh, dude, sounds intense.
He gets incredibly powerful. There's it's insane. He actually he drops weapons. He makes weapons and drops them in front of like the most powerful heroes on the earth and possesses them. The Hulk, the Thing, Gargoyle, like he turns people to stone, and he gives them these weapons that possess them and make them super powered. And like, could you imagine fighting the Hulk and the Thing, and they both have hammers? Like,
No.
like, dude, it's fucking
That
nuts. And
sounds fucked.
they just scream at you in this language you don't understand. Like, all the letters are just like hieroglyph, like crazy. Like,
I would be shitting my pants and
dude.
running the other way.
It's fucking crazy. There's a scene where Captain America is like leading all of these heroes to fight like the God of Fear, and he throws like the God of Fear makes a speech, and everybody's just like mortified, like we're fucked. And Captain America's like, no, fuck that. And he throws his shield and like tries to start the battle, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The guy catches his shield behind his head and just snaps it in half.
Oh.
It's like he snaps a vibranium shield in half.
You
just
don't.
with his hands.
That
It's just like,
that's not good.
yeah, and then everyone saw that.
Yeah.
All of the heroes were there and they witnessed it happen.
Yeah,
It was
that's
just
not
like,
good.
oh,
That's
what
so
happened? Like,
fucking
holy
fucked.
fuck. And then I decided I needed to buy all the other comics.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that these are just comics that it's not really like an order to how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
It's more like a different perspective. So I like have the perspective of Wolverine. I have the perspective of Spider-Man. I have the perspective of like Tony Stark.
Okay.
Tony Stark actually goes to Odin and he prays to Odin. He's like a known atheist, and he's just like, fuck it. He starts drinking again because all this shit's fucked up.
Oh god.
And he's just drunk, and he prays to Odin out of nowhere. Odin shows up, and he's just like I fucking hate you for not believing in me, but I'll help you because I don't want to see Earth die. It's where my son lives.
Damn.
So he brings him to the fucking forge, and he lets Tony Stark make weapons for all the heroes. And Tony Stark, like, fucking, he decks out Wolverine and Spider-Man, and dude, they look crazy in the comics. They have all this futuristic, crazy, like Asgardian armor on.
Hell yeah.
Like, dude, it's nuts.
Dang, that's really
it's
sick.
such a cool story, you know. There's a lot of them. I don't even have all of them
Fear
either.
itself.
Yeah.
That sounds
It's a crazy
absolutely
one.
interesting.
I don't know where all of the Marvel arcs fall.
Okay.
But that's like the one Marvel arc I really fell in love with. I was like, this sounds nuts, dude.
Gotcha.
Like all of these crazy badasses just got these powers out of nowhere. Like the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of a sudden he's possessed like by the
Yeah.
God of Fear. Like
I really do, like you kind of mentioned with like the perspective, I really do kind of like that storytelling and that story writing.
yeah, Marvel does that a lot.
A little different for sure.
I just didn't know that at the time, and I bought a bunch of them of heroes I just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't recognize a lot of them. But the stories are cool. I just don't know like who they are.
Yeah, I got
You know, I don't know their origins.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of them before. Like the Great Lakes Avengers. They have a shaft.
Avengers.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and honestly, it's a parody. It's like
Okay,
a parody of the
okay.
Avengers. There's a guy, the leader. His power is that he can't die. He's not invincible.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He can't die.
Okay.
So he'll
okay.
get fucked up, and then
But-
he'll just be on the ground like crumpled, like destroyed, like in pieces. And then like the next scene, he's just there.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "You can't defeat me."
Hell yeah. That,
You
yeah,
know,
that's
it's like,
just some like
you just can't
regular
die,
regular
like-
dude. It's like, yeah, just
He's not like Wolverine. Like he's
Yeah,
not a
like-
badass or anything.
right.
Like,
just
he
some
doesn't heal. He
Regular
just doesn't
bloke.
die.
I can't die.
Yeah, and then
That's-
there's Squirrel Girl. Yeah, Squirrel Girl. I think she had a cameo in one of the new Marvel movies. or
Squirrel
something.
Girl.
Yeah.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, she, you know, it's like Spider-Man, but it's Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl.
She just does squirrel things. Yeah, it's just stupid. Like, there's,
Sorry, that's
I think the Blob. The
Oh,
Blob
yeah,
is
the-
part of the Great Lakes Avengers.
the Blob.
Yeah,
That's-
I think eventually he converts or whatever, or maybe it's a female version or something, or I don't know.
Got bitten by a radioactive
That's weird.
squirrel.
Strange.
Fly through
But,
the air.
yeah, most of the other comics I have are all Image. Most of them are Image.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are Vertigo or Dark Horse, but I like the Image comics because they get a lot of writers who are just off the wall, like crazy. They just write crazy stuff, and these stories are nuts. Like I have one that's called East of West, and it's about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse,
Mm-hmm.
but it's in like a parallel universe where an alien spaceship crashed into Indian territory back in the gold rush days.
Ooh.
And they got super powerful technologically, and China invaded California. So they have a section of the America that you know of today.
Okay.
So there's like 5 different nations. The Republic of Texas is its own nation.
oh,
You know,
oh,
so it's like
I see what
it's
you
a
mean.
parallel universe, but it's set in like 2012. or
Oh wow.
whatever.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
it's like nobody knows what the natives are
Mhm.
up to because they have such crazy technology and they sell it to everybody. Like limited amounts of technology they sell to both sides.
Damn, this
You
sounds
know, it's really political,
yeah.
but also the four horsemen of the apocalypse show up, and death. They're trying to like fucking wipe the earth again,
Mhm.
and then death fell in love with like one of the Chinese leader's daughter, and they had a kid, and
Nice.
his kid gets kidnapped, and he's like, "Fuck you guys, I'm not taking over the world until I find my son," and he just leaves the four horsemen.
Oh
So it's like
jeez.
sci-fi plus fantasy plus mythology,
Man,
like
yeah, that's a lot of hats to
because
unravel.
there's fantasy too. Because the Native Americans, like some of them have magic. They stick to the old ways and like they can summon like the old spirits and
Ah,
fucking
yes.
transform. They have the death rides with these two shapeshifters, Crow and Wolf,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
they're two natives like, and they can shapeshift into like a wolf or a crow, obviously.
Fuck
But
yeah.
like it's just really crazy story, man. Like it's so wild. Like that's why I like the independent writers. It's not
Mhm.
just the regular heroes you hear of all the time.
Oh yeah, I think that's like, man, some people really underground got a lot of really fun ideas, and like that's just sounds so like technical, with so many like moving parts, and like having like a story relayed in like the past, but with like displayed in like a different like time, like future, and
Yeah,
like
dude.
different spiritual elements too.
It's nuts. It seems like a lot of research went into it as well. Just
Yeah.
like the writing is like super complex. It's like the political aspect of it. It's like there's so many moving parts in the politics because there's like six different countries.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's six different leaders and they all meet to figure out what to do about these crazy things that are happening because of, the four horsemen are like fucking people up.
Oh my
And it's
god.
like it gets crazy. And then all of a sudden like this prophecy starts like that was like some crackpot religion.
Mm-hmm.
This prophecy like starts coming true and they're starting to wonder what to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, what the fuck, dude? Like they're all convening, like, what do we do about this? And then they're all like backstabbing each other to try to like gain power during the conflict. And
Hell
like
yeah.
it's like some Game of Thrones shit,
Damn.
It just gets nuts.
Oh, dude, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a good story. I don't even think I have all of them. I think I have like 8 or 9 of them.
Okay.
I don't know how far it goes. Most of them go to about 10.
Okay.
They try to end them around 10 as far as the trade paperbacks,
Mm-hmm.
which means probably like 50 or 60
Oh, I see.
chapters.
Okay.
But yeah, there's definitely some fucking damn good comics out there that aren't just Marvel or DC.
Oh yeah, I'm sure of it, man. I definitely loved like, I mean, I know this is pretty classic, but I
Which
loved
one?
like reading The Watchmen. And that was even
Watchmen?
before like the movie came out. I like read that as like a kid and absolutely like loved it.
I read that in high school. I
Yeah.
thought that was fucking dope.
It was
I-
super dope.
I think I read it um after the movie, but it was probably like after I saw the movie, but it was like right during like when it was popular. When the
Right.
movie came out,
Right.
I think I watched the movie and then I was like, damn, I wish I could read the book. And my friend was like, oh, I have it.
Nice.
I'm like, oh, well, I'll borrow
I
it.
always
And then like
really-
it was a really good one. I enjoyed it way more than the movie.
Yeah.
It's so much more in depth.
Oh,
There's
for
so much
sure.
more knowledge.
I definitely thought like, because I know a couple of my friends like really didn't like it, and this was still when we were like a little younger, and they were like, hoping for your classic trope, like, oh, fighting and action
Yeah.
and all this shit. But definitely there's just like a lot of like kind of background, like history kind of going on with the
It shows you,
comic.
like, news articles in between the chapters.
Yeah.
It literally gives you like a news arc or like a classified file on one of the characters.
Exactly.
Or like some crazy like military document. And it's just like, dude, this shit's not in the movie. Like that context makes a difference, dude. It really does.
Absolutely. I thought they did a pretty good job. Like it was still like a 3-hour movie. I definitely would have rather it been like maybe a multi kind of movie series to
Some
really
of the scenes
include
are too
everything.
slow.
But yeah, it's definitely, I thought it stuck to like the actual story like pretty well for like kind of like some of the other like movie adaptations of comic books that
Yeah.
I've like seen. Like I remember seeing like the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, and I was a big Spider-Man
That's
fan.
a good one, dude.
And I liked it, but I was a little like I was so confused on like so many things. Like just kind of like why wait, like what? Like why is he like Mary Jane?
They definitely
like where's
changed
Gwen
it.
Stacy? Like
Yeah.
where's that character? Like he hooks up with Mary Jane like way later in the story. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, wait. Oh, Gwen's just not even like alive." And then the whole kind of like shooting like the webs like naturally, just like where's his gadget? Like where's his like whole thing? So I think like as like a kid kind of like really early going in like, "Oh, they're going to make like a lot of the movie adaptations."
Yeah. Well, as a kid, I never read any of the comics.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know any of the comics at all.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like I just knew the imagery and like maybe the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
So like I knew him from like a TV show, maybe like the X-Men show or whatever. I don't know if he made a cameo in there or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or I remember seeing that. I knew that in the comics that he had canisters, but I didn't really care.
Yeah, that
because
was
I didn't read any of it, you know. So it's like
yeah.
here's a Spider-Man movie, cool. Like, and then I just took that at face value. Like, oh yeah, that's Spider-Man. He gets bit by a spider, and like that was my knowledge of Spider-Man now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then later I learned like, oh, like that's not how it was in the comics at all.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Exactly.
The Andrew Garfield one is probably the closest to the comics.
It is. No, it definitely is. The Andrew Garfield one is definitely closest, and I liked it. I liked the Andrew Garfield one because I'm like, yes, like there we go. At least for like me personally too, and kind of like
I don't think he was the best Spider-Man.
I don't think so either.
I think Tobey Maguire was better. Honestly,
dude, my boy Toby.
I like the new one the best though.
I haven't seen like
Tom
any.
Holland?
I haven't seen any.
You haven't seen any of them,
no.
dude. They're fucking good. If you like
Yeah.
Spider-Man, they're good,
dude. I
you
know.
gotta look into it.
I know. Like I said,
No, out of all, like, trust me, out of all, like, I'm really critical on films, and like, out of all the Marvel movies, like, dude, the Disney Marvel sucks really bad, but like, those Tom Holland Spider movies are fucking good. Like,
okay.
the
I'll
ones that are
definitely
like,
have to give them a try. I think
Far
like
From Home or like Home Sweet Home or whatever the fuck it is. Like, I don't know,
yeah.
but
I really do want to see. I did see the Into the Spider-Verse, the first one.
Spider-Verse is good too.
But I haven't
like
seen
those.
the second one. I'm really
I
want to
see the
it.
second.
Yeah.
Like, I thought the first one was amazing. Like,
Me
I
too.
wasn't. I went into it with really low standards. Like, I was like, this movie's gonna be so cheesy. It's gonna be so fucking dumb. And then like I was like into it. I was like, what the fuck is gonna happen next? Like,
yeah, right. Like,
goddamn, like
it was so
like,
good.
Holy
the art
shit!
style
Like
was
all these different
amazing.
Spider-Mans. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is kind of cool. Like that was a cool movie. I just thought it wasn't too cheesy. You know what I mean? Like, I fucking hate that cheesy shit.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. Like, I'm just not a fan.
That's
of
why I
cheesy
can't
stuff.
really do a lot of the like modern Marvel movies anymore. It's just too like, and I get it. Like even the comic books like they do have like the cheesy lines.
Yeah.
But I just think like there's just something different about kind of reading those like joke cheesy moments in the comic book and then portraying them like in real life. It just doesn't really translate as well. And so I'm just kind of like, I'm like, it's for kids, I get it. It's like, it's more kind of for like the family, like friendly. So I can't hate on it too much, but I'm just kind of like, I just cringe.
They can't do sarcasm as well.
Yeah.
They just can't, because like you can't be an asshole in the Disney movies, you know, like Tony Stark is the biggest asshole. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, there's some really big fucking assholes in that movie. And like they didn't even make Thanos seem like much of an asshole.
Oh, okay.
Like, he had some fucking like just distorted motive or whatever. Like, it was altruistic but just distorted. It's no, Thanos was a fucking dick, dude.
Yeah.
In the comics, he would just slaughter people for disagreeing with him.
Right.
He wouldn't give a fuck. He would just like pinch your head and smash your head like, oh, I don't fucking like you.
Yeah.
Like he was not a good guy. Like like
because I read a lot of the comics, but I never saw any of those movies. But I was at least happy. I'm like, okay, it's Thanos. Like, thank God they like got the right villain for like the movie, because that is kind of the main. But
and he was a good actor and everything, but he wasn't scary. Like, he didn't scare me at all. It was just like, okay, he's the villain.
Yeah.
Like, he said something that was like evil and like some distorted like, this is the way to fucking fix the universe. It's like,
And like
okay, sure.
I think kind of the reason maybe I don't like to kind of watch like a lot of like movies or TV shows is I think there is kind of that like, you know, if I kind of go into a movie and I could just kind of guess what just happens at the end, I feel like I almost don't even want to see it. Like, and there's kind of this like, you know, the
Yeah.
tongue in cheek like attitude with like the heroes, like, like we got this, and like, yeah, you know, maybe like one of them dies, but I don't know. I'm not like surprised or crying about it, but dude, the heroes will prevail, and it's a
Yeah.
very like, hey, you know. But I definitely like, you know, the directors that make me like really like almost the movie doesn't make sense, and it's almost kind of like has
Yeah.
like an avant-garde
Like fucking
sort of.
Tarantino, dude.
Yeah, Tarantino.
Have you seen the Tarantino movies? Like
Oh
all
yeah,
of them?
not all of them, but most of them. Most of
Have you
them.
seen the Kill Bill ones?
Oh yeah, dude.
Kill Bill 1 and
fantastic,
2? Those are like my
fantastic.
favorite.
Heck yeah.
It used to be Reservoir Dogs, but like I watched Kill Bill again as an adult, and I'm like, dude, this movie's like masterful. Like
Hell yeah.
it's like so like it's not realism at all. It's not realistic
Yeah,
at all in any aspect. It's literally like a live action comic book. This
Yeah.
is like what comic book movies should be. They
Exactly.
should be like Kill Bill. Like
I
where
completely agree.
every character is extreme intense to the fucking like nth degree. Like who gives a shit? Like they are the fucking professionals. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
all those assassins were just like they all knew the code.
yeah.
And they all knew what was gonna fucking happen.
The
It's like-
way those action scenes were filmed like felt like I was like reading the comic book
Yeah.
and really had that vibe. I think like, man, that was really, and I think Reservoir Dogs was one of the first movies where I really went like, oh holy shit, like just how it was filmed and like the story of like, oh, you know, it's about a bunch of people robbing a jewelry store, but it's like they don't show any of the robbery, they don't show any of the action. It's all like post. It's all like, oh, we fucked up, we got to figure out like what the fuck happened. And that kind of gave me the like itch for trying to watch movies that have an interesting perspective and not just
Yeah.
telling me like the story, like kind of showing me the like thoughts of the characters. And especially with like Kill Bill too, like, man, him just like really honoring the like shots and like the katanas and like the way the movements was fucking flawless. Absolutely
yeah,
good.
dude, it was so cool.
The like
And then he has movies like Hateful Eight, which
I
are
have
like
not seen that
mostly
one.
dialogue.
I've not
But
seen that one. I really want to
Dude,
see
the
it.
intensity in that movie is insane.
Yeah.
It's like you've got 8 people in a fucking cabin. They're stuck there because there's a blizzard. It's just a roadhouse. This is like 18's whatever
Okay.
year. Like so they all have to shelter in this house because there's a blizzard coming through. They don't know any of each other. Like Samuel L. Jackson is a bounty hunter,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't want to reveal he's a bounty
yeah,
hunter.
yeah. Samuel L. Jackson.
Because he's
Classic,
like,
yeah.
now he's suspicious of some of these people in here because he's in the area of the guy he was looking for.
Yeah,
He's-
okay.
And it's like the intensity just goes up and up and up. And as the dialogue goes on, people get more and more suspicious,
Mm-hmm.
and it just gets crazy. And by the end, it's just like, fuck, dude. Like, something's going to fucking explode. And like, it just gets so crazy at the end. So
Hell
many-
yeah.
Like, they all die pretty much. Like,
Have you, yeah,
they
it-
all just get they all
classic
get in a fight at
Tarantino.
the end. It's just a crazy intense scene at the end, of course.
Hell
but
yeah.
it's nuts.
Have you, so I did look up that one director's name, but his name is Robert Edgers. One of my like new favorite directors, because all of his movies almost like don't really make sense.
Which ones?
So the kind of the two that I personally really love is The Lighthouse and Beau is Afraid.
Right.
Beau is Afraid is kind of a brand new one, and it involves kind of like a guy that just has like crippling like anxiety, like just beyond crippling, like social, and just kind of and it shows like how he sees the world, and it never breaks. And so like, maybe there's just kind of like like he's kind of like scared to like go outside. There's kind of like some hobos or something, kind of like, you know, as like a normal person. But what he sees is just like he walks outside and then everyone just stares at him and like points at him and is like running at him. And that's like what he feels. And so the whole movie is just kind of his like reaction to like what he perceives the world to be. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense, and it is fucking terrifying. And it just puts you in like this state of perpetual like anxiety and like what is like about to happen. Like there's
like
kind of
schizophrenia.
Yeah,
it's like a schizophrenia story or something.
Yeah, it based in like a way. Yeah, like there's kind of like another scene where, you know, there he kind of like gets like stabbed by like somebody, and he like goes up to like a police officer, and like any normal person be like, hey, like, you know, like help me, officer, like I just got like stabbed. But like he just sees the officer like point his gun like, don't fucking move, like he's like, I'm not moving. And it's like, I don't know how to perceive that. It's like, I don't know if the officer in real life was like trying to like help him or not, but it's just everything reacts in this way that is just, it's like, what if like everything just got worse?
It's kind of giving me like American Psycho kind of vibes.
It is really.
Have you seen that one?
No, I have not
American
seen
Psycho with Christian Bale.
I've seen all the memes. Like,
yeah,
just
you see
like,
the memes and stuff, but if you watch that movie, like it's not funny. Like it's intense and confusing.
Yeah,
like that's why it's memes.
That's kind of
like
it probably has similar to that.
Yeah,
there's like very
one point
intense,
where he
very confusing.
There's one point where he's like walking through the street, and he just killed somebody. He's like a fucking psycho murderer, but he just killed somebody. He's walking down the street, and he fucking he's going to an ATM, and he gets to this ATM, and this, like, he's trying to pull out money, but this cat meows at him, so he picks up the cat, and you're just like, the fuck is going on here? Like, you know, this guy's crazy at this point. This is like kind of like later in the movie. You know, he's fucking insane. And he picks up the cat, and the ATM just, he looks back at the ATM and it says, "Feed me a cat." Like, on the screen, you're like,
yeah.
He just kind of like, what? He's like, he puts the cat up to the slot, and he puts the gun next to the cat's head.
Oh, man.
And then this old lady comes up, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he turns and just shoots her. You know, it's just like, dude, what am I watching? Dude, this movie's insane. It's like, he just goes crazy. It's about like the decline of a fucking psychopath. It just goes totally fucking nuts. And like, dude,
it's so cool. Like, kind of having like, I don't know. I really like that surrealist, and it really puts you like in the mind perspective of like kind of maybe the fears that a lot of people go through, and like the mental anguish that a lot of people go through.
It's not a lot of people though, because this guy was like a executive at some advertising or something.
Sure, like he was like a psycho.
There's a scene where they're like comparing business cards. Like, oh, check out my business card.
Oh yeah,
you know, and he's like,
seen that scene,
and he's just like in his head, he's like, this fucking son of a bitch.
Dear mother of God,
I can't fucking believe it.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
He's like sweating down his
He's like sweating, and they're like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, like
he's like, "I'm fine. I need to go."
That was so, dude. Yeah, I definitely saw that.
And then
that
he
was super funny.
Almost goes and kills somebody in a bathroom.
Oh, bless.
It's like the guy who had the better business card.
Dude, I might have to watch that one when I get back tonight, dude.
Yeah, that's a good movie. That's a good classic.
Hell yeah,
for sure. Like, you would enjoy it if you like Tarantino movies. American Psycho is a good one. I forgot who directed it though.
But dude, so got any kind of musical projects that you're kind of working on right now?
No, I just have instruments.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have.
I just like to play around with instruments, and I like making melodies. Melodies is like, I have melodies playing in my brain all day long. I don't know if they're inspired by other things that I've heard already. I listen to a lot of EDM. So,
do you really?
So I have a lot of EDM.
Going through
my head all the time,
dude. I love EDM. Like, what's your sauce?
Heavy, like hardcore, Frenchcore.
Oh,
like hard, the super distorted bass, like
Yeah.
fast. Like it has to be over 100 or I'm not gonna touch it.
Dang,
like, I
you
fucking
are
love it.
nice.
Well, my favorite band last night
Amazing.
at Sad Dad.
Yeah.
And this is just my bias. Like everybody did fucking excellent. And
Yeah,
I loved
they
all
did
the
great.
performances. But Celestial Exile, like, dude, those guys go hard. Holy shit! Like, that's the only band I moshed like almost every song. Like,
was that the band they had like
crazy.
the neck, like they had the painting?
No, that was Apex Alpha.
That was Apex
That was
Alpha.
Tristan.
Excuse me.
Tristan
yeah, okay.
actually has an episode here.
Okay, but
I talked with him before.
I do know who you're talking about. I was thinking about like
they were all native dudes.
yeah, the native guys. Yeah, heck yeah.
Dude, holy fuck.
They
They
kicked
came out
ass.
with the energy that was just like fucking crazy loud and fast and like just in your face. And dude, that's kind of like how Arcanaut is. You know, they would be right up next to Arcanaut, like side by. They would fit well on a bill together.
Hell
they
yeah.
have the same energy, just like blow the whole fucking place up.
Dude,
like,
nice.
And that's the kind of metal I really fucking love. Like
Nice.
it's either doom or that.
Perfect.
You know? But
yeah.
EDM, it's only that. Like I have
Nice.
to listen to fast, heavy shit.
Dude, I love it, man. Have you do you go to much like the hard techno shows or like the heavy like hard shows?
I haven't really been to a lot of actually I haven't been to a lot of raves at all.
Dude, one of my best friends, he is actually one of the guys that runs the Techno Snobs community in Arizona. And they put on like some amazing like underground techno shows. And it's not necessarily like, I know like a lot of raves, I think people have a lot of ideas of like what they are, what they could be. But I really love this community. Like they're very about the music. They're very like chill. No one's creeping or being like inappropriate, like, at like these shows. But man, they throw on the really like heavy, fast techno, just like really awesome shit. And they just got like a new venue. I'm not really sure how legal it is, but it's a fun time.
Dude, you got to let me know when the next
I
is
will
coming
definitely. I'm trying to get these metal boys and ladies out to some of these techno show.
You got to show them the right music and tell them this is what's possible.
Exactly.
Like,
no,
because there's some fucking EDM. Like my brother turned me on to it. But,
nice.
He showed me hard style like back in the day.
Perfect.
And it's like it's like 80 BPM. It's like it's like kind of like dance music. You can shuffle to it. Like that's the main dance. You do the shuffle.
Okay.
And like the Running Man and shit like that. But you can make it look really cool. And that's the kind of shit I really got into back when I was in like high school. And when I was in the Navy, he started showing me stuff that was like, Frenchcore, hardcore, and just like faster, like heavier, like dude, like they it's like metal. But without a guitar.
No,
it's just like a DJ doing metal, and it's just like fucking nuts. Even some of these songs are using like I've heard songs that do like Black Dahlia samples. It's just like, holy shit, man, this is heavy. Like, it's so good.
It's so cool, man. Like, just people get some gnarly noises out for sure. And like I think like having that like love for like metal too, and kind of go into and experiencing like I even go to like some of these underground techno shows, and sometimes if I go to a rave, like everybody's wearing like the fancy like rainbow kind of like colorful outfits are the big things. I go to like one of these techno shows, everyone's just like in black, like smoking cigarettes, just like wearing black shirts, just kind of like vibing. I'm like, dude, these are my people. Like these, just like the metal community, but in the like subset of EDM.
I mean, it's just a matter of like having the experience, like going there. Like I didn't even like metal like when I was in high school very much. Like,
oh, really?
I didn't like super heavy metal. Like I probably got into hard style before I got into heavier metal.
Gotcha.
So I was like more into EDM before I was into like Black Dahlia Murder.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was listening to like shit my dad would listen to, like Metallica, fucking like Iron Maiden, just like classic metal kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought it was hard. It was cool. Like some of the lyrics are hard,
right.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like
back in the day.
you get into like the more modern like melodies and like the fucking just intensity of like the drums and fucking bass, and everything.
Yeah.
It just gets crazy. It gets way more intense.
Oh yeah, and,
And-
it's just you cyclone down deeper and deeper.
And I just
Like-
didn't get it. I didn't understand it, you know?
Hmm.
And my brother would show me things by like Black Dahlia Murder. I'm like, oh, they're just screaming. I don't know. And I wouldn't pay attention
Yeah.
to it, you know? And then like I actually went to a show of like a heavier show, you know, and where heavier bands were playing. I think Megadeth was headlining, but it was
Oh.
like Children of Bodom and like Job for a Cowboy was there.
Dude, was
So
that the Mayhem Festival?
it was called the Gigantour.
Okay.
It was called Gigantour, and they
Okay.
had a few bands there.
Okay.
But, like,
Okay.
that's when I first like saw a heavier show, and I saw people like moshing, and like that was like the first fucking real metal show I went to, and it was at I think it was called the Cricket Pavilion or
Yeah,
something.
the cricket. Mm-hmm.
Or no, it's either that or the Mesa Amphitheater, one or the other. But there was a grass field in front of the stage,
Oh, okay.
and it was raining that day.
Oh, like right in
So,
front of the stage,
yeah,
there
and
was
it
a grass.
turned into
That's probably a
mud.
Mesa Amphitheater. Yeah,
And it turned into mud, and it was just muddy, and everyone's
Oh.
moshing in the mud.
That's sick,
It was
man.
dope, and I was wearing a yellow shirt, so everybody was gunning for me. It was really bad, dude. I was just some little high school kid in football, so
Oh
I had
my
some weight on me,
God.
but I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing in a mosh pit. You know,
Yeah.
just fucking
Oh,
people
yeah.
up.
Your pants are off,
I ended
dude.
up
You're,
face planting in the mud.
oh
and
my God.
So like from my head to my feet, I was covered in mud on my front half, and my back half was just like normal. So it's like totally
Wow.
fucked.
Well, yeah, I know. You're just like, oh God, I'm fucked.
I was having a great time, dude.
Dude,
I was a little cold.
That's awesome that you got to
but,
experience
yeah.
that, man.
And-
I think that's the best way
Yeah,
to
that's
really
that's when I
get it.
started like
Yeah.
really getting into metal. You know, so maybe I'm thinking maybe it's the same thing with like harder EDM.
Yes.
Like I'm not sure, but
That is the answer. That is
Like,
it's
see
the
a
same
live
thing.
show, like,
you see
go
a live
see a live-
show and you get it. There's people there that are just like you can tell that they're really into the music. They're having a great time. Everyone's like super like friendly.
yeah,
And honestly, at least for like that crew, like I know like a lot of other like genres of EDM are, you know, very like drug oriented, but I feel that like kind of the subset of kind of the really like hard techno, the really like hard style, like I feel that community is like really legit and
as long
actually
as,
kind of like
yeah,
down to earth.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of people who are into the music, like for the art, and I
Yeah.
think that's cool.
Right.
Like, that makes it more genuine.
Exactly. Like I've definitely been to many raves, many EDM shows across like all genres, and you know, you definitely have like you see like your people that like you don't care. You're just here for kind of the drugs and the party, and hey, you know, that's fine. You know, do you, and you definitely kind of see like the people like me. I'm like, dude, I'm legitimately loving this music, and I'm like having a fucking great
Yeah,
time.
man.
So it is, and I know like it's kind of hard to, you know, like you hear about or like kind of hear of these underground kind of like techno things, and I feel like I just want to be like, for a lot of like my metal friends, I want to be like, come with me, like I know the path, I know like where to park, where to like walk to for like this secret like place, and it's a great time. It's not like weird.
Dude, you gotta
It's-
show me.
it's
I'm
not-
down.
Yeah,
I'm in.
It's so fun. It's so fun. Yeah, like, and I'm super happy, man. My buddy Indy Yip, like, if you ever want like somebody who's like a part of the techno scene, like on your podcast, dude, he is a great person to
I've
talk
had one
to.
DJ on here already.
He's like one of the coolest people that I know. Like he just knows it all, and he like works with like the Full Moon Festival. Like they put like he's DJ'd the Full Moon Festival a bunch, and like works with the production team to like put together kind of like the techno stage. And but I love that man, and
Nice.
so definitely want to
Yeah.
get some people out there for sure. It'll be fun.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm not specifically like trying to do metal only.
Right,
So like
yeah.
I don't care. Like I've had a whole bunch of people on. I've had a DJ named Muradic.
Muradic, okay.
He's local here, but he played EDC just a month ago or
Get
so.
the fuck
Yeah,
outta here.
He did a set
Really?
at EDC, and he does tours and stuff. He's like done a tour in Europe, and
Wow.
yeah, he's really cool. He's a fucking awesome dude. We did our episode when I was going to Crass. We did it
Wow,
in their
okay.
studio. So I just set up a couple of their mics.
Phenomenal.
Like, yeah.
Dude, that is so cool,
But
man.
that was a cool episode. But yeah, he's one of my brother's friends.
Nice.
So I'm gonna have him on again eventually.
Yeah. Oh my God, if he's playing EDC,
Cool. Like, I like that dude.
Going to Europe, like man, he's in the mix.
Yeah, dude. He's definitely doing it. Like
Yeah,
he
he's
is
doing
a
it.
professional DJ. Like
That's
he's fucking
phenomenal.
awesome. He's
All
like the
right.
nicest guy too. He's so cool to talk to.
That's awesome.
And what's crazy is like his background is in metal. Like he used to be in metal bands and stuff. And like he was telling me stories like he's gone too heavy on his tracks and like he got dropped from a label because he was too heavy. And they're like, you can't, like we can't be representing you if you're gonna be like doing this. And he's like, okay, that's fine. Like I'll keep doing it.
Yeah, that well,
He's like, whatever.
dude. Honestly, shout out to that man. Shout out to him for
he's-
sticking to his guns.
Yeah,
I think
he's
like
awesome.
obviously if like you're signed to a label, which EDM definitely has a ton of labels that are going for a very specific sound. Like you really have to fit.
You need more female vocals.
No, yeah.
You know, shit like that. And it's like, what?
I think like yeah.
I don't even know a female vocalist. Like,
yeah, like especially in EDM, like just kind of, you know, from my experience and knowing what I know, like those labels are one of the stricter ones about like you need to fit
they
this
know what works.
vibe. Yeah, like if we are like representing you, people are coming to us to find like more of this sound. And so, but hey man, hats off to him for loving what he loves, and he kind of got dropped, but it still seems like he's being really successful with it.
Yeah, he's still doing his thing. I mean, he makes good music, and it's like, yeah, he makes some really cool shit. I listen to like some of his songs are on my likes list for sure.
Heck
you know,
yeah.
so it's like he does one where it's like it's called Daedra, and he has like samples from Skyrim.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I forget
yeah.
there's like one of the Daedras. She's just this evil fucking bitch. I forget her name. Starts with like an M. But he has samples from her voice in there.
Gotcha,
you know,
gotcha.
and just like from the video game. And it's just, it sounds so fucking cool, dude.
That's
it's just
so sick.
heavy and just like, it's like, holy fuck. Like, I need more of this. You know
That's
what I mean?
super cool.
Like, I just love the heaviest EDM.
Hell yeah. I definitely, you know, I'm a bit of a, you know, I'm a bit of a bro. I love the trap music. I think there's something just kind of funny about trap that gets me like really hype. And like, you know, I kind of spun at like that house party that Daytripper played. We did like a little fun like kind of after party DJ thing.
Yeah, dude. I thought it was good. I was enjoying it.
Heck yeah.
I thought it was cool. It was like, I think your background in metal helps you though, because like you don't care about going too heavy. You'll make the kick fucking as heavy as shit and like fucking like make everything loud as fuck. Like you don't really care that much. You'll pump it all up, and like that's what I like.
Hell yeah.
I like if it's loud and intense and fucking like.
Fuck yeah.
That's
I agree. Part. I think like with DJing, I think there was like one point like a couple years ago that I was like trying to do it like seriously, but I think now I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'm just way more into like what I'm doing with Daytripper, way more focused on that. It's taken a lot more time, and with kind of the DJ stuff, I'm like, if there's like a house party and people want to let me spin, I'm like, I don't care. Like I'll just spin whatever I want, kind of keep like the party vibes like going. So it's just such like this back burner kind of goofy.
Well, it
thing
worked at that house party.
Thank you.
I don't know if it works at every one of them, but it worked at that one.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I know everyone after like Daytripper, man. You know, the weed is getting passed around. Like it is getting hazy.
Well, speaking of that, you want to smoke?
Woo! Yeah, I'm down.
So this will be the first joint in TBS history.
The first
on the podcast.
Joint in TBS history. I am thrilled.
Yeah, I rolled it myself.
That's amazing. All right, dude, that is...
It's a mild strain, don't worry.
Okay, thank God.
It's not some super crazy shit. Like,
thank God. That's so fun, dude. Actually, too, you know, I'm like a part of like the, you know, my stoner doom band. But I think of all like 4 members of the band, I probably like they're like way more, can smoke way more than like I can.
Oh, really?
I got to develop my tolerance back now that it's almost like my my brand. But I'm very excited to take a little hit from this puppy.
Yeah, I like to roll them fat. I can't roll them skinny, dude. If I try to roll a thin joint and it like wraps over too many times, I get confused and it doesn't fucking work, dude. Like it has to be one wrap, which means it has to be fat. It sucks. It's just the only way I could roll. I have to roll them fat.
Nice. Heck yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, that was beautiful. Very graceful. A beautiful hit. I give that a 9 out of 10 possible dopeness. It's
All right.
beautifully graceful.
You hear that, Joe?
It's true.
He's my grower, Joe.
Shout out to Joe. We love you.
Yeah.
Dude, beautiful.
He's a good guy. He's a painter.
Oh.
He paints. He paints murals and he does things on canvas, sells canvases and stuff like that.
That's
right. He makes his living doing painting, and dude, growing weed is just his hobby. You know?
Nice.
And we just ran into him by fucking chance. It's just like, glad I don't have to go to a dispensary anymore.
Yeah.
It's so expensive. Holy fuck. It's so much
I know.
easier. You just grow it out of your house.
Hey, yeah, I mean, and like what? You're allowed, I can't remember, you're allowed up to like a certain number of plants, like per person, like in the house. So, I mean, shit, man, if you know how to work the greens, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Tee it off. Tee it up.
Dude, that's like, yeah, and he gets really into it. And he's always like, oh, let me know how you think this new strain is. Like, I got this new strain. I want to think how I want to see how I grew it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to see I've been working on a new curing process, new drawing process. I want to see if it works out well. Let me know how you think. You know, and I'll give him critiques. I'll message him back and be like, hey man, that weed is it's kind of mild. I don't know if that's what you're going for.
Okay,
it's like, you know, the stems are really fucking brittle. I don't know if that was on purpose. You know,
hey.
I don't know shit about weed, so I just tell him everything I know.
Honestly, though, like, man, giving like good critiques and like honest critiques to people, I think is so important.
I try.
It's so important.
There's a lot of people who don't like me because of that.
No, keep doing what you're doing, man.
I realize that smart people don't mind.
Yes.
It's the dumb people that get upset by critiques.
You know,
they're like oh, they feel all bad. It's like most intelligent people are like, thank you for telling me.
Exactly.
Thank you for letting me know where I could be better.
Exactly. And I think that people who actually care, that like really do care, that want to get better, they love the critiques. And especially too, you know, you're right in the beginning of the podcast, you're kind of talking like about like Attila and like, you know, oh, ask him how it went. And like, I'm sure, you know, you guys have had kind of the discussions, and obviously it's led to like this point, because this has been very, very smooth. This has been very great, but it's gotten you like where you need to go. And I think like they're just kind of like a lot of bands, and I love them. I think they're doing what they're doing, but like, hey, they're kind of going on, and maybe like the sound doesn't sound like as good, or something's just kind of off, and it's just like, hey, you know, they're just kind of there to do their thing, and God bless them. But I always try with like the real homies to kind of just be like, hey, like, you know, left side guitar, he definitely needed to be up there like a little bit. I think that the bass tone could have been like a little bit more fatter. And I'm saying this like with just love, with absolute love, because I want to see a lot of these bands succeed.
I like to do that as well. I did that a lot when I was working with Archinaut, and I would do it for Condemned, because they would play with Archinaut a lot.
Yeah.
So the Condemned guys, like, which is Nate and
I think I'm
Tim
good for now. Thank you, bruv. Appreciate
that's
it.
Right. You're all right. I used to. I still critique. I did it last night for Tarot Blood.
Nice. Okay.
The drummer for Tarot Blood is Ruben Duros. He was on my podcast. He's episode 30. So
nice.
He's the episode before you.
Right on.
But he asked me like, hey man, how's everything sounding? I was like, I don't usually get that question. So I was like, well, if you really want to know, like, the keyboard, couldn't hear it at all. Like, only when nobody else was playing, then I could hear the keyboard. And your backup vocalist, I think he had the mic pointed at his forehead. So, but I don't know.
You know what?
And I would just tell him like straight up, like, hey, like, those are the things I heard. You know, everything else sounded great. And he was just like super appreciative. He's like, oh, dude, thank you for listening and like actually trying to fucking notice. And it's like, yeah, dude, I'm not just gonna tell you like, oh yeah, it sounded good.
Right.
Good job.
Exactly.
Everything was perfect.
Exactly.
Like, that's dumb. No, it wasn't.
Dude, I cannot.
It was not perfect.
Right. Yeah. Like, it wasn't. And I just think that you care, and you can, like, having that respect level, like, for them, for yourself. And we're all trying to get better.
Yeah.
Like, we all want to put on a good show. We all want to be the best that we can. And, you know, we're up there playing. We're not out there in the audience. So if I like kind of ask like my friends too, I'm like, hey, like, how did it sound? I get like a lot of people like, oh, that was great, that was amazing, and I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
But
you're
like,
just like,
well, let me. What was up? Like, there's no
Yeah.
way that we had a perfect fucking show.
yeah.
So definitely kind of had gotten some critiques about like the vocals. But I think kind of where we're at now. I think we always want to just take our time with the sound check.
Well, that house show, I was like really drunk by the time you guys went on, so I have no way to know. I remember because I watched the videos. They like jogged my memory. So it's like I don't know about the audio at all in that house show, and I don't really critique house shows because it's a fucking house. It's not a theater. It's not a stage. You know what I mean? It's just a fucking house. Right. You have to always take that variable into account. Exactly. It's never gonna be It's never gonna sound awesome. It's way more about just like the party and the tight fucking space. Right. Everybody's trying to crowd in and fucking see the band all at once, and it's just fucking nuts. Everybody's shoulder to shoulder, and it's just a cool experience. Like,
and I think we were kind of going into that with like, this isn't like just a show. This is a party that also is a show.
Yeah.
And kind of having like those vibes. And so we took like a little time to kind of like get everything set up, but we usually actually don't like smoke or really drink before our sets. Like we just want to make sure. And of course, like I said, we're still like all new to our instruments.
Dude. You gotta practice.
We gotta practice. Like, so we knew like we're going to be smoking and drinking for this house party. And that's kind of when we were like, all right, like we need to like run through the set, and then we need to smoke a fat bone, and then we need to run through the set again. Just really high.
Exactly, dude. You got to practice that shit. You can't just practice sober and then like go to a show and drink a bunch.
Exactly.
You got to practice drunk.
It's true. It's so funny. And like, just starting off, like, we're trying to like be sober. We're trying to get our shit right. But now that I think that we've, kind of been around the block, played a few gigs, we're going to kind of, we got to.
Well, I mean, eventually the hours add up to where the difference isn't much. Sure. Like, I'm sure after like 1,000 or 2,000 hours of you playing live, it doesn't matter whether you're drunk or sober. You're going to do it the same no matter what. At some point, the difference is not going to be distinguishable to the audience. They're not going to notice.
Yeah.
Like maybe drunk, you miss a note on a song or a couple notes or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like every time I see somebody, like one of the musicians, they'll tell me musically how they were not doing well. Like, I missed a bunch of notes on that song. I'm like, dude, that's not what I was hearing.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not listening to your specific musical notes.
Right.
I'm listening to the entire band.
Right.
How was the entire band sounding? I could hear the guitar. I could hear the bass. Couldn't hear the keyboard. The drums are always fine.
Mm-hmm.
The vocalist, that's 50-50. They're too quiet or too loud, like one or the other. Like it's really hard to get a fucking perfect balance on the vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the bands last night did pretty well though.
Yeah,
I thought the sound guy did an excellent job. I don't know what his name was.
Yeah,
I wanted to meet him, but by the time the show was over, he was packing up gear and really busy.
Right,
I didn't want to bother him.
Dude, yeah.
But whoever the sound guy is at the Nile, like that was a fucking good ass job. He did excellent.
Dude, and so I was at the show Wednesday with Thra, Yob, and Paul Bearer.
Oh, yeah.
And I gotta say, man, that was one of the best sounding shows at the Nile upstairs I've ever heard. Like, I think they may have done something. Like, I swear to God, I was like, it sounds fucking good in here. Like, it sounds way more thick. And of course, it's Yob. But like, man, I don't know. Maybe like did get some like new equipment or like did kind of fix some like speakers but yeah, I thought last night was really, really good. I think for like other like local kind of things that I've seen, like, man, there was one time like it was like Condemned Till Dawn was like kind of headlining this big. It was in like December a couple of years ago, but there was a couple bands that went on and I was like, oh, like this is rough, like not good. And I just felt so bad. And I'm like, damn, like they put their heart and time, but like it's not, just sounds like shit. But like I thought last night for a local show, for that many bands, for that kind of tight of scheduling,
dude, it was excellent.
It was excellent.
That was a fucking awesome show.
It was.
I don't know if that was luck, but it seemed like it was put together pretty well. Like I mean, Tristan said he was one of the people organizing it. I think, right? Was he was like heavily involved with organizing it, I think.
I have no
You don't
idea.
really know Tristan.
No, I have no idea.
Okay. Well, I talked to him on my podcast, and he was promoting Sad Dad even back then.
Okay.
He was like, "We're gonna make this year we're gonna fucking get it right, you know, like
Nice.
make it solid." So
Yeah.
they were working on it for long ahead of time, you know. So I feel like all that time, it's like, how could it go wrong?
Right.
You know, I don't think it was on a tight schedule. Like, I think
Yeah,
you mean
like-
the day, the
I did-
bill itself being
I
a tight
did-
schedule.
No, I think
Or-
maybe what I mean was that maybe I used the wrong word, but what I kind of meant was like when you have that many bands and you're trying to really commit to the 15-minute changes, it's like, man,
Yeah,
sometimes
for
the local
that
bands,
day.
people kind of go over their time or they take a little bit longer, like sound checking than normal. And sometimes that shit gets pushed like really late, especially with the amount of bands being there. So that's kind of what I meant about like, I'm impressed that every band had the professionalism and knew how to handle a big night like that, to like, hey, we sound check, we get quick, we play our set, we know what we're doing, we know the 30 minutes is on the clock. After we're done, we got friends helping us out, we're backlining amps, and so I just think it's really great.
I think it's great, and I think that all the bands up there had experience already.
Yeah.
You know, nobody was inexperienced. Everybody knew like they could play this long.
Yeah.
You know, and they had to go. You know, and if they were a minute over, they had to hurry the fuck up.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
everybody understood that on stage. You can tell like they were done and they were fucking gone. They left and made room for the next band. Like
Perfect.
I watched that kind of shit because I did a lot of audio work like in like theater shit.
Nice. Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but I worked at the Orpheum Theater for a while.
Oh, I
And,
didn't
like,
know
I'm
that.
actually trying to get another job there.
Okay.
I'm trying to get a job back there. And I want to be a production coordinator, like
Right
fucking
on.
super high up. I want to try to get like the, you know, organizing the whole show, but like audio mostly. Like I want to know the whole system.
My God.
And yeah, I think it'd be really fun.
That sounds epic, man.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I don't even know how, like, even like the first couple steps to trying to like get something like that. So,
yeah, I have a lot of I mean, I have a connection that goes through there, and I was doing a lot of training with him while I was doing the job in the union. So I was like bouncing around to different theaters, and I would do training at the Orpheum. I did a lot of it like off the clock. I would just go hang out with it was my cousin's husband, so like my cousin-in-law. His name is Dylan Doobie. He's on like episode 8 of this podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, I did an episode with him at his house, you know. And it's a really fun like job. You know, you're like trying to solve all these problems to get a show fucking up and running, like ready to go. You have to have all the right sound system to meet all the requirements and everything that they need. And it's just like, I don't know, it seems like a really fun time.
Damn.
I did a lot of work with him in the union, just training and like learning the whole system. But the thing is, like literally last week, or like I think it was last month, he tore the system down completely.
Oh.
He took the whole thing apart.
Oh, wow.
And he's gonna upgrade it. He took a vacation and then he went back into work like at the end of this month. He's gonna go back in and install everything.
Holy smokes.
Like, fuck, dude, I gotta make some time to go over there and like hang out with him while he's doing it, just to learn the system, because I feel like it's gonna be mine at some point.
You know, that is some
But,
wise thinking. Like, yeah, now's the time. Strike while the iron is hot.
Dude, gas is so expensive. I don't have any fucking time. I'm trying to do a podcast. Like,
That's true, man.
it's so hard.
Juggling a lot of shit, man. I feel you, man. I feel you.
But if I could do, man, if I could figure out a way to make this podcast work and do that job, like at the Orpheum Theater for at least a couple years, I feel like I could make so many more connections with this podcast. Being a production coordinator at the Orpheum, I could pass that card out to so many people who would fucking pass it out to who knows how many people.
Yeah,
Like, I
dude,
would have so many crazy episodes. I
dude,
would have
you
so
are an
many
ace,
wild
man.
people.
You are truly a master of the of just kind of like marketing and kind of like meeting new
I am
connections.
not. I
No,
am not a master at it. I
but
want to. I'm trying to become at least effective.
I think okay.
You know,
I
It's
think you are
so-
effective, man. I think like, you obviously got a great look, dude. Your
A great
hair
look?
is
I
amazing,
appreciate
dude.
that.
You got like the dude, the big hair, man. I feel like
I'm literally just a caveman.
no,
but
but like people
like
like
I put conditioner in my hair, dude. I don't know.
that's so funny. I like but I think that, dude, I think you're just kind of like an approachable person and like, hey, you kind of put on the smile, dude. You got the business card, got the QR code, just like, hey, dude, I do a podcast, but like you seem very genuine. And I think like, the nature of your podcast too, and kind of like the filter for how you maybe go through a potential guest is like, well, I'm going to kind of have like an initial conversation with you
Yeah.
when I first meet you. And hey, if
It's not even that,
something's
dude.
vibing,
I've
okay.
literally met people here.
Oh, really?
I've
Oh,
invited
man.
people here, like, hey man, how's it going? The first time I
Okay.
ever meet them. Like, it's not like I don't have like a huge vetting process.
Gotcha. Okay.
This is still such a baby. Like, I've been doing this over a year, but at the same time, it's like I haven't really tried to grow it into something more than when I first started.
Mhm.
It's still just like a record in my fucking living room. Let's have a conversation.
Nice.
All I've done is upgrade the equipment and the method, but
Dude.
it's still literally the exact same vibe. And I want to keep it. I want to keep it like that. Like,
Nice.
come into my house and let's fucking have a beer and smoke a joint and just record our conversation. Like,
Rock on.
this isn't like a interview, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to interview you. I don't want to fucking just, let me hear this question, this answer, this question, this
And I
answer.
think that
like,
takes like a lot of, I mean, I don't really get nervous, but I think that it takes like a lot of pressure off of, as like as you're on your guest.
dude, it's easy.
It's
It's
so
easy for everybody.
And then they just kind of like, hey, now we're just like kind of getting to know each other. And like, I think, having such like common interests and different like interests really like brings up just great like points. And, but man, kudos to you. I think there's so many ways like that we're like so similar. I think kind of like becoming, I know that you kind of had like the podcasting with, your other friend, and now you're kind of doing like a new form and like getting like the equipment. And I think like already I can kind of tell like you have a laser focus kind of like, I know what I'm trying to have like the end result like be in like a conceptually.
The end result is Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, it's in like, I think with like
I didn't have to make it up. It's something I'm going for.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, right. Like it's a great goal to have, and like you said, your first kind of podcast, man, everything that kind of could go wrong maybe did. And I think with like Daytripper, like we all like I've been in bands, we all have done musical projects, but we've never done this, and like, but we just had the vision, we had like what we were trying to get. And like it took, me and my buddy Nate, who's the other guitar player, us like learning how to play the guitar, and how to craft a pedal board. We're like, oh, you don't just like plug them all in, like it matters, like the order of the pedal board.
Absolutely.
I know, but we're all scrubs, and I'm like plug them all in, woo! Like, but we just kind of like really had to like take a year to just fall on our face and be garbage. And I'm so thankful for like like where we kind of got, and I'm pretty confident that like, man, this is already such a cool setup and a cool like,
well, I'm glad
theme.
you like it. It's been so simple. I mean, I should post a picture of it, like it's it'd be so great, like the comics in the background and all that, but it's literally just like 2 webcams on 2 tripods and like a fucking construction light with a shade. It's
well,
like
hey,
it's the TV actually doesn't appear in the screen. You can see it here, but
exactly, it doesn't. Yeah, if you're trying to go for that true like
honestly,
Joe Rogan,
with one of the episodes, I forgot who it was. They came over and I literally like plugged this screen into my laptop as a second monitor, and I put my logo up on the second screen, just the logo, and I pulled it up on the TV, so it was just the logo on the screen, but it doesn't show up.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, whatever. I left it
throw
up
it
for
up
the
there,
for the guest.
Yeah,
he showed
yeah.
up and he was like, "Oh wow!" Like he saw the look on the screen and
So I was like, oh.
yeah, he was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yeah, it doesn't show up.
How fun.
It does look cool, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks more professional,
dude. Hell yeah.
Like, but I want to get a LED neon sign. Not
That
like
would be.
I don't want like a real neon sign.
Oh, okay.
I want like an LED sign that has like the fucking like strips of whatever rubber.
Okay.
That go around and just make it look like neon.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I want one of those. I think that would be dope. I know there's companies out there that do it.
Set a good vibe, you know.
But I literally designed my logo in the shape of a neon sign on purpose.
Okay.
I wanted to eventually make a physical like sign that looked really cool.
That'd be fun.
So
yeah.
I literally like got a graphic designer. His name is Steezy. But
Steezy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
sure it's a nickname, but that's what everybody calls him, so I call him that too.
Nice. I love it.
Steezy. Yeah, I got some graphic design work from him. I paid for the logo, and I literally like went through a few revisions on like, no, these edges have to be rounded. This can't be connected. Like it has to look more like a neon sign, like it's a glass tube. Like I want it to look like a glass tube. Every letter has to look like a glass tube.
Glass tube. Nice. Yeah.
So I made it look like that on purpose, so it'll be easy to just transfer like the logo. Even if I wanted a real one, I could just give it to a glass, like a fucking neon sign maker. Like, hey, make this
nice,
really big,
dude. I want to like. That's really fun. That's really fun. Like, I want to commend you on because you're the only one who runs this show.
Yeah. I'm the only one.
It's you.
I don't have a team.
That's really. I mean, and that
I want a team.
Yeah, it's impressive. Like,
hey, anybody want to do some video editing for me? I fucking hate it.
Dude, I
like,
know.
Please.
I gotta say, dude, shout out to my drummer.
I can't
Nathan
pay
Schulte.
you yet.
I don't know what I would do without you. He is like just
Does he do
a video editing and like Photoshop wizard.
Does he want to do a podcast?
He would 100%.
If he can pull highlights out of this podcast, I'll pay him when I can.
No,
I literally need a team.
He's trying to get some work, like for sure, and he's good.
Well, this is an investment. It's not work. Like,
yeah,
literally, it's a time investment, and I don't know if it's gonna work out. Like, I never know if I'm gonna make money on this, but I'm just gonna keep doing it because I enjoy it.
That's
so
what it's all about.
If he enjoys pulling highlights out of these episodes and finding the funny moments to put reels on Facebook, I'll put them on Facebook. Like, sure, like, please do it for me. Like, if this is fun, go for it.
Yeah.
Like but I will pay you when I can, but
yeah,
I can't. I don't make money on this.
No,
this is all for fun.
For sure. Honestly, I don't really. I'm happy that like we don't really make money on Daytripper, but so far, like, you know, we're really thankful that people are like coming to the shows, supporting us, getting some like T-shirts. And like so far it's been like pretty like neutral. I mean, besides like, you know, buying the instruments and like the initial investment for like all the equipment, but like everything else has been pretty great.
How many people are in Daytripper? 4?
4 people, yeah.
4 people. Which of you guys have experience in bands already?
Me and my brother Mark, the bass player.
You and your brother Mark.
Yeah, we are the only 2 people that have been in other bands.
And how long have you guys been in bands?
I've been in bands since I was 16.
Okay,
and then my brother. Well, actually, I should actually say, me and my brother actually started playing kind of in like a family band with my dad, and like we would go out and like play like little kind of fun, like we played bluegrass
in front
music.
of people.
Yeah, in front of
front of like counts.
So I mean, I was in fucking like 4th grade. My brother maybe in like just starting junior high. Like I was a boy, and I played like violin, and my dad is like a world champion banjo player. And we would kind of have like this little bluegrass band, like I was a kid, and so yeah,
Does he still play?
Yeah, he still plays. Yeah, he's insane. He's insane.
Can I get him on the podcast?
Dude, that would be.
Can
great.
I get some stories from him?
Yeah, dude, of course.
Yeah, I don't need stories just from metal. Like I want stories of all sorts of. He's got to have some crazy, world-class banjo player.
Yeah, he.
That sounds cool.
So basic, like one of his jobs, like my dad. That'd be so funny. Like I come out and then like the next episode, like my dad, like that would be amazing. I love my dad.
Dude, you have so much experience.
I love my dad. but yeah, he worked at this like, oh, what's that like major theme park that's in like Cedar Point.
Cedar
He
Point.
worked down like at Cedar Point for like I think a couple years, like actually as a performer, like playing the banjo. And he like studied under Don Reno, who is like a prolific, like one of, you know, the greats, like banjo players.
Jeez, dude.
And he placed like second place in like a world championship competition for like 5-string 3-finger banjo picking. And he, you know,
Oh my god,
he maybe
that's
will,
so cool,
yeah,
dude. I need him on this show,
heck
dude.
yeah, dude, heck yeah.
That sounds cool as fuck. It sounds like he's got some stories.
He does, man. But it was really cool, you know, so obviously the musical influence was there, but like he never really like told me to really do anything. Like, I mean, he brought me to the music shop and be like, what do you want to play? And I was like in second grade. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm so young. And I just looked at a violin. I'm like, that looks cool. And he's like,
Really? You chose a violin?
yeah. I was just, he brought me to a music shop. Maybe I was in like first grade. I had to have been like 6, maybe 7. And he's like, what instrument do you want to play?
He just knew.
And I just like chose, I just chose the violin, the most difficult, statistically speaking, the most difficult first instrument to learn is the violin.
Really?
Yes. And it's hard.
Because there's no frets, right?
There's no frets, and like you spent like the first year of like real violin training is just how to like hold the fucking thing. Like how to hold it properly, how to like make a sound on like an open thing, and how to like be graceful. Like it is so
you have
technically
to be,
hard.
You have to be so very precise with your movements.
Oh yes,
dude. I just saw this video. My uncle is like a huge music nerd.
Yeah,
my uncle Randy. He lives in Connecticut, and he's this huge music nerd. But he shared this video on Facebook of this lady playing a theremin.
Oh yeah.
But she plays Ecstasy of Gold with 2 hands on 2 theremins. And dude, it sounds so fucking crazy, and it's so precise. Like for the first, like some of the notes, it looks like the video's paused because she's not moving. Because you know you play a theremin by disrupting magnetic waves.
The vibrato, you know.
Yeah, because you disrupt magnetic waves with your fingers.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so it's like you're literally putting your fingers in the way of certain waves to make a noise, and she's using all 10 of her fingers and doing the vibrato on certain parts, and it's like, how the fuck do you just? There's no strings. There's no visual, like. There's no visual.
Right.
It's
clues. It's
you know, you just have to know where to put your hands.
Mm-hmm. It's so impressive. Nuts. It's so cool.
She could do it with her eyes closed, technically.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to see anything.
No, it's true. Definitely, you know, if she obviously knew like the exact position. I mean, like it's all just
maybe
like
she has to see the rod.
Yeah,
there's like 2 rods that actually have the magnetic waves. So it's like there's a rod on the bottom and then on the top. I think the top one is where like the receiver or the
top is the receiver, and then there's one like usually there's one off to the side where if you put your hand close to it, like it's like a mute. Like you can have like your hand like really close to the rod, but as you like move away, it'll like get louder. So you almost have like kind of like a level like thing with your hand as well, which is really impressive, man.
Well, it was definitely 2 theremins, like one on
like you said.
it was kind of strange.
Just the fact that it's 2, like.
And just like doing like harmonies and stuff. I was like, holy fuck! Like,
so beautiful, man.
It sounded crazy, but it was just impressive that there was like it wasn't like a stringed instrument. It's not like keys or buttons or anything. You know, you're just literally putting your fingers in midair.
Right. Yeah.
Like making this shit happen. It's like you just have to hold your fingers like perfectly still to hold the note. It's just like that kind of precision is insane. I imagine it's pretty close to a violin.
It's pretty close. Like, because when you're first learning, you obviously learn like the neutral position, which is essentially like all the violin people are gonna get me for this one for not knowing this damn scale. Dude. But like in like basically this like 1 major scale, it's like, you know, the F sharp and C sharp major scale. All right, all these violin nerds are going to be in the chat. No, but
There's
anyway,
no
so
chat,
there's like
no
kind of
chat.
like your in the comments. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But
Everybody that listens to this knows me personally.
there's like there's like this neutral position that you learn, and when you learn, you kind of put like tape on the violin
Yeah.
to like kind of. But once you learn the neutral position, it's like where do you go from there? And I think with the guitar, it was so much easier for me to learn the guitar because it was like, oh, this is a grid. I can like
like a
visually
piano.
see my scale. Yeah, the piano, this is a
Yeah,
grid.
it's visual. It's
But, like,
way easier.
With violin, I always had to feel like I really needed to know music theory because I had to memorize every scale as far as like, you know, you kind of like, oh, I want to play in like this key. Well, you have the same fingering, you just kind of move to like the root note and you have a very like similar flow chart of your hand movements across the fretboard to hit a certain scale. But with violin, like, man, you really need to know every single.
You have to know it by ear.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to know exactly like, oh, here's my scale. Here's what's sharp. Here's what's flat, and I need to know exactly where I'm
because
going.
without the visual aspect, you have to know what it sounds like.
Yes.
You literally have to know the sound of the note.
Yeah.
Like music theory works like with like when it's just numbers and a fretboard.
Right.
You can do music theory on anything
Yeah,
that has numbers in a pattern, like
I
a
see what you
piano
mean.
or a guitar. But if it doesn't have frets, like all of a sudden, like your eyeballs don't really matter. Like you have to fucking just know what it sounds like.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Exactly. And that's why I always felt like when I wrote a couple melodies, I actually did write a couple of Daytripper songs on violin because it's just way easy.
Nice.
It's way easier for me to like if I hear a note in my head, I can just immediately go to it on the violin because I know what
That's
it
interesting.
sounds like. I know like I
Yeah,
want
that's cool.
I know like exactly what my fingers should
That's
do to
fucking
get that
awesome.
like because I feel it. But with the guitar, they're like, oh yeah, play like ba ba ba. I'm like,
I'm gonna train my kid on a violin. I don't care what he says.
It'll be a very
That sounds
love-hate
cool.
relationship.
That sounds cool.
No,
I wish I had that skill. I just have to whistle my notes. I've
Yeah.
literally looked up YouTube videos on how to translate a whistle into MIDI.
oh yeah,
Like I want to because like
Yeah, yeah.
dude, I have so many melodies that just play in my head, and like I'll just be driving. Like if I forget to put on music or something, I'm just driving silently. I'll just like just start thinking of a melody. It's just like, what song is that? Like I don't think it's a song.
Yeah, and then
And
you're
I just like start making like, can I make it not a song? Like, can I make it different? Like, make sure I don't recognize it. And I start changing it in my head. And I'm just driving, like, I'm like all of a sudden there. I forget what, like, it's like,
Dude,
fuck,
yeah.
dude. I was working on music this whole time, and like, the only thing is like, I don't have a workflow on a DAW. I don't really use a DAW to make music. And dude, learning a DAW is like learning an instrument.
Yep.
You have to fucking learn every piece of it. Hotkeys are helpful, and it's like you have to know how to do what you want to do inside that program. And I'm so impatient with everything. Like I'm so impatient on learning technical stuff and like learning programs specifically. It's like I don't know, there's something about it that I fucking hate learning programs. Like I can't do it. Even digital artwork. Like I've done artwork for my entire life. Like I draw with pens and pencils, and that's all I can do is with pens and pencils.
Gotcha.
Like,
Okay.
I try to do it on like a program, and I just get so bored. And I'm just like, I don't want to look through how to use all these tools and figure this shit out. Like, give me a pen, and I can give you a cool fucking drawing. I can like easily draw something that will blow your mind, or like fucking like all my Instagram is literally just artwork. I don't have any like personal shit on my Instagram. It's all just my artwork, and
Well, that's cool,
I think I'm
man.
gonna keep it that way.
Yeah.
But it's just like I feel like with music, it's even harder to get just the sound from my head to a recording.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. I can't just pick up a pen and write a song. You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
Like I don't know how to do that. I don't read music.
Okay.
I just have the melodies playing, and I could whistle them out any fucking like any tune I've ever come up with, I can whistle it out, and I've even come up with lyrics for some of them and vocals. Like, sure, I used to play them on guitar. Like, it would take me a while to figure them out on guitar again. I haven't played in a long time. They just kind of sit there and collect dust now.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that is so like interesting that you say, and you know, just kind of like another thing. I feel like, man, the creative process of like people and how they're really putting like their art and like, you know, having to like use those new programs, having to like use like the digital space is tough. And that's honestly why I really started kind of the beats thing. Was it was like that wasn't even the goal. I just want to like try to learn as I go through this like other medium. And I think it's been so helpful what we've been doing with Daytripper, besides any of the other bands, is like I'll just record like the demo of the song just on Ableton. I'll just do MIDI drums, fuck it, I don't care. And I'll kind of have like some really shitty amp in there, and I just kind of record the guitar and do like some vocals drenched in reverb.
Well, in MIDI, you can change it afterwards.
Right, yeah.
You can do whatever you want later.
Exactly.
You know, just get the sound out on paper.
Exactly. If we want to change the structure, you can easily change the
Copy
MIDI.
Paste.
Like,
like it doesn't matter. Do whatever you want.
But I'll send my demos to like my bandmates, and like I'm like just listen to this for a week, and then we'll learn it. And I think like listening to it, even if it is kind of shitty, it's like it just kind of helps like really learn. So I'm not too good at like recording or really doing that kind of thing, but I think kind of having that skill to be able to kind of utilize the tool in my own way to make the band better has been really successful. But yeah, man, the beats, man, Ableton is...
You like Ableton?
I like Ableton. I think it was just what... so kind of funny, I bought, like I wanted like a sample pad, and I bought what's called a Noviation launch pad. And I just thought it was just a fancy, like, hey, you know, plug in your sounds. You got like a bunch of, you know, a bunch of sample pads. But I didn't really realize it was like this entire controller for Ableton. I had no idea. Yeah. And so I'm trying to learn how to do this, and I'm like, oh, it wants me to download Ableton? Like, what the heck is this?
I have a launch key.
Yeah. Like,
I have a launch key 25.
You got the launch key? Nice. Yeah, that's like exactly kind of, this is just like, the pad version with like the 30 pads or whatever. And like I didn't even I was so stupid. I almost like did the formula wrong, but then still got the right answer for like learning how to use Ableton. I was just trying, I'm like, how am I supposed to put samples on here? Now I'm learning all this Ableton crap. And then I realized like, oh my god, I think this is just a whole controller for this DAW. I thought I was learning how to do something else, but I was actually learning how to use Ableton. And so that's just kind of, I weirdly like got into it in kind of a stupid way.
Well, I mean, Ableton's pretty unique. Like, it's not really like the other DAWs where it's just like a timeline of like, here's your sound, and here's where the one sound stops and begins, and here's where the other sound stops and begins, and you have to fucking match up the timing. Like, Ableton is just pretty unique in the way where it like matches the timing for you almost.
Yeah.
It almost makes it like more user friendly in that way.
I agree.
We got like, when I was at Crass, I think we got like one lesson on Ableton. Like literally one lesson.
Oh yeah.
And it was just for the purpose of showing us that there were other DAWs out there that weren't Logic and Pro Tools.
Gotcha.
Because most of the training was in Logic and Pro Tools.
Gotcha.
And Ableton was like the one lesson where they had. And I have my suspicions that the instructor that taught it, his name is Scott Murray.
Okay.
And I want to have him on my podcast at some point. He's a younger guy, probably like our age. But the way he talked about it in class, he was the guy who taught the Ableton class. And the way he talked about it, and he taught it with a lot of enthusiasm. Like, you could tell he liked Ableton.
Yeah.
And he the way he talked about it was like, you know, for some reason we only get like one course on Ableton, and you know, I guess that's just for the purpose of showing there's other DAWs.
Yeah.
You know, he was like kind of disappointed.
Yeah,
and I
dude.
think he was the one who fought to even get Ableton into the curriculum.
Nice.
You know,
good.
So
shout
it's like
shout out to him.
Yeah, Scott Murray. Yeah, I want to get him on here for sure.
I really love Ableton in the way that I think it is fantastic for song structure.
Yeah,
Because sometimes, like, so Ableton, there's like kind of two different screens, but one screen, like, you can kind of set in these loops.
The
You can just
sequencer.
kind of see, yeah. And like, you can kind of like, duplicate those, move them all around, and have like these rows of like, you got your drums, your synths,
But
your
it keeps
bass.
the timing.
But yes, it keeps the timing, so you can kind of just be like, oh, like, you can almost set your
Yeah,
whole
then
like
you could just
structure
go
to a
like
grid.
A B B A, and then just like just set your fucking your structure up like
Yeah,
drag and drop kind of stuff.
exactly.
And then,
Like,
yeah,
it really is just user friendly in the way for structuring songs that I think a lot of people musically have struggle with. They'll kind of make like that 16 bar loop, and then they're like, where do I go from here? And a lot of like rappers or beat
the
makers.
next 16 bar loop.
Yeah, then it's exactly, but there's no, yeah. So, but
And then back to the first 16 bar loop.
yeah. It's like intro, just cut everything out.
That's
Just
how
have
all
this-
rap is right now
Yeah.
to me. Like I feel like a lot of rap, they find a good drum beat and then they use it for the entire fucking track. It's like, oh, I like the drum beat, and then it just stays that way for the whole fucking track. And I'm like, oh my god, dude, like there's so much you could do with this drum beat.
Right.
Like, you could do so much more. And then you listen to like a fucking Dr. Dre song or like Snoop Dogg, like one of those guys who like sits in the studio and produces for their life, and like the drum beat changes and you can tell it's fucking good.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like you can tell when rappers are only in it for like lyrics, and like sometimes the lyrics are great and like your vocals are great and like you can keep a rhythm with your vocals and it sounds cool and shit, but the beat is just so monotonous.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my fucking god, dude.
Yeah.
Like do something with your drums. Like
I completely agree. And I think, I'm sure you know this, but you really like, I think I like to always think like that, the rapper is like not pretty much almost never like the guy making their beats. Like that is a very small, specific, at least with a lot of famous rappers. So, and like modern rap,
Yeah.
a lot of rappers buy their beats.
That's
And like
true.
they kind of just go, there's a lot of sites. I actually know like a guy who sells beats, and he makes like a pretty like decent kind of passive income by just writing kind of like, a good like 16 kind of bar loop that has like the same drum beat. He kind of drops it in, takes it like, drops out the music, puts it back in for the beat, and then just sells it for like $100 to some rapper. And so I think that like a lot of rappers like focus on just the lyrics and rapping, and like sometimes with like metalheads, like, man, they'll be all encompassing. Like, oh, I'm like getting into like music production, I'm getting into like this. But I think like a lot of like modern rappers out there don't really have a hand in making like the beats and just kind of buy the beat. I really do think, like, I'm not saying everybody, but I think a ton.
Could you even do that with metal?
No,
No, you can't.
no, like
It's too dynamic.
yeah,
It's too dynamic, dude. You can't do it with metal.
no,
You can't sell a metal beat.
it's right. I mean, the reason I hesitated was, I mean, I've just known that, I mean, record labels can be shitty, and sometimes they'll like take certain songs from like other like lesser bands and like help kind of recreate in like the big name bands and shit. Like,
Okay, I mean, I could see
but-
that. You could take, but that takes
But that's
sound.
not-
That
yeah.
takes engineers and like recreating.
Yeah.
That's another aspect of it. They have the
Right.
resources to have a sound engineer to do that.
but that's not what
But,
you
like,
were saying. Yeah,
Like you can't just go online and be like, hey, here's a metal drum beat.
yeah,
And some
like,
fucking local band is just gonna pick it up and like, oh yeah, cool, we'll make a song around
oh,
this.
great, yeah,
Like that's not gonna happen. But a rapper, like, yeah, I can do all of my lyrics on top of this beat, like
Right.
easily. Like,
exactly.
they don't have fucking 2 guitars and a bass to wrap up into all of this shit. Like,
Right, and,
and
like-
a breakdown and like fucking like trying to get everybody to mosh and like,
Yeah, that's just, I know we were talking about a little earlier, and that's kind of why I've fallen out of rap a little bit. Still love a few rappers. Like, I got to give it up. I do think Tyler, the Creator, he's actually a really fucking talented musician. He makes all of his own music, all of his own beats.
yeah,
He
like
films all of his own shit.
there's definitely
Hats
people
off.
out there that go beyond that, just
Yeah.
buying a beat and putting lyrics on it. Like I'm just saying, like, that's why the market is saturated, is because that's so easy.
Yeah.
You can write lyrics and fucking make them sound good. You can sit there at a table and write lyrics all day long and like fucking find out what's perfect, and then like just go buy a beat.
Right. No.
You know, and
It
like
happens all the time.
you can't do that with metal.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't do that with other songs. But then there's rappers like you said, Tyler the Creator, where they like go above and beyond and fucking make their own shit and like try to make it dynamic and get it like to where it flows rather than it's just.
I know not everybody loves Tyler, but he's an incredible musician. He's had a lot of growth, and you know, I gotta tip my hat to that boy. But I think like I mean, when you have like I really do think that, you know, what's your opinion on this? I personally think that rap music has taken over. Like so many people, at least when I look at like Spotify data, like dude, everyone is listening to rap music these days. Like, man, it just seems like that is the most popular genre currently in like at least like kind of American music is rap music. Like, dude, rap music is fucking way popular, like so much more popular.
It's been that way for a long time, and the reason I think that is because the lyrics are so you can understand the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually pretty straightforward, very direct and relatable, and anybody can listen to a rap song and hear what they're saying and understand the lyrics, and it's relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not cryptic. There's no fucking secret message. It's not like super crazy artistic, like listen to the clues and find out how crazy this message is, like, you know, psych rock, how we were talking earlier. I like that shit. Like, I want to decipher your code, you know? Like, give me the fucking weirdest lyrics and I'll think about it, like, what the fuck did he mean by that? Like, you know, and like Pink Floyd, like I'll listen to Pink Floyd and still try to think of different meanings to their songs. Like, I'll try to figure out different shit and like, does this relate to me right now or not? Like, you know, is this bigger than, you know, fucking, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but with rap music, it's very direct. Like you can't interpret it in too many different ways.
Right.
It's like, you know, and I think that's kind of just easier to, you know, relate to and spread around. And, you know, that's why it's popular. That's just my theory.
Oh yeah, I think, and also too, you know, at least the trap beat is, man, it's a formula. And I really love trap EDM music, like I said, because, and I even kind of said this too, is like, because it almost is kind of funny. Like, it's something that's so minimal, but yet I could just be moshing and going crazy to it. And like, there's something that with the trap beat, you just have like, you could have like just a piano, no effects, just a regular classic piano, bing, 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 bing. You have that trappy beat, and
then the hi-hats.
I'm throwing, like, it's fun. Yeah. It's just kind of funny. It just has this, honestly, like, hype that is weird.
It's funny, like, because actually, the podcast I started with, the Kevin and Spencer show.
Yeah.
Our intro was a trap beat.
Nice.
And Kevin made it, like, himself.
Oh,
but
nice.
I wrote the melodies.
Nice.
So we made it in his bedroom. I was literally just on his MIDI controller, like, and I just played some fucking song that I had made up, like, when I was, like, fucking 10 or something. Yeah. You know, just played some beat, like, he's just some arpeggio, like, thing.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, okay, I got you. And he just put some bass, and I was like, bam, bam. And then he added, like, some chorus. He was like, oh, we need a chorus in there. And I was like, okay, hold on. And I just played the exact same thing, just the chords instead of the arpeggio. Just
perfect.
Yeah, perfect. It was just a chorus, just in the background. Like, that was the whole intro.
Dude, that's perfect.
But I made the video for it. Like, I put text. I made it come up when it was like, I made it like when it was just the arpeggio before the bass. It was like 3, 2, 1. Like the letters came up on the screen.
Nice.
And It just, like, our names popped up, like on the first bass beat. And then I just had pictures of Phoenix, like, that switched with the music.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
over top of the
yeah.
letters, you know? It's just pretty cool. But I think I still have the file. I'll show you when we stop recording.
Dude, nice. Hell yeah, I'd be down to check it out.
It's pretty funny.
Dude, so there is a show coming up. I don't know if you have any opinion on this. I just think it's kind of funny. But there's a show coming up at the Nile Theater. The man himself, Soulja Boy. Dude, what the hell? Like, Soulja Boy is coming to the Nile. The cranked at Soulja Boy, dude.
Really?
Oh, watch me win and watch me roll. I'm like, dude, this like 2007 rapper.
Does he live here?
No, I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't like seen him in like so long.
Is it a tour?
Yeah, it's a tour.
Okay,
yeah,
so he probably doesn't live here.
Yeah, I don't think he. I think he lives in. Well,
he might. I mean, there's a lot of rich people that live here.
I might have misspoke. Yeah, I don't think he lives here. But
there's a lot of rich people that live here, dude. And DMX lives here. I don't know if he still does, but
that's true. And then I think one of the dudes from Slayer lives here too.
Oh yeah, dude.
But fuck yeah,
guy from Soulfly lives here.
Oh yeah,
Max Calvero.
That like dude from Tool lives here.
Yeah, dude. He has a restaurant.
Yeah,
he has a restaurant here.
Dang, that's crazy, dude.
Fucking Maynard.
Yeah, man.
He's got an Italian restaurant. He gets I watched the podcast with Joe Rogan. I listen to all. I can't just claim I researched this. I just listen to podcasts while I drive. But I guess he's got a restaurant here, and he like has this fucking pasta that's like imported from Italy or some shit.
Wow.
It's like some ancient grain pasta. Actually, I think he said it's weird. It's grown here in Arizona because it has a climate like Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Grown here in Arizona, like this ancient grain like strain of wheat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's imported to Italy to be ground up in a traditional way, like the flour.
Yeah.
And then shipped back to Arizona.
That's gnarly.
To make all the pasta for the restaurant.
Wow. Oh my God.
And apparently it's like much better for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like pasta that like is it's not like hard for your body to digest or anything. It doesn't like hold on to it as hard as like more of the complex starches and like the fucking GMOs and shit.
Gotcha.
I'm talking way over my head right now.
No, it's okay. I actually kind of
was convincing when I listened to it. So
yeah, I love cooking. Big cooking fan. And yeah, I was going to like double down on that fact. I did like read that there's a ton of like wheat that's imported from Arizona to Italy. Like Italy is using like Arizona wheat
there's
to make
way
the
more
dough.
land. There's way more land in Arizona. It's so much cheaper to get a plot in Arizona to grow wheat, and it's so much cheaper to just get it in Arizona and send it back to Italy.
Yeah, that was gnarly. Like seriously, some of the best like pies that you can get, like some great dough right here in AZ.
Yeah, but I guess I guess he gets it from he gets his pasta from a place in Italy that gets their wheat from a place in Arizona.
Wow.
It's not on purpose.
Yeah, it's just how it is.
He gets his pasta from Italy.
Nice.
But it just happens to be grown in Arizona already.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like he could cut out the middleman if he really tried, but he's not in the business of, milling flour.
That is funny.
Yeah, it's just weird, but I've looked up ancient grain pasta. That shit's expensive, man. It's
I believe it.
$12 for a box of pasta.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ, dude. To make like maybe 2 portions, like fuck.
Holy shit. Do you like to cook? Are you much like a cooking man?
I don't like cooking.
You don't like cooking?
I don't.
Oh,
I'd
man.
rather have people cook for me. It's great.
That is true.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. It's great. I love it when I just come over and I can just fucking eat. That's awesome. Like
that
cooking is work for me.
I can't argue with that. Yeah, I get you. I love cooking. It's so fun. It's like
and that's cool, dude. I like watching people cook. Like I love how people love cooking, but when I'm doing it, it just looks like a list of tasks, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to do all of this before I get to eat.
Dude, I respect you though, man. I respect you. Like, hey,
I'll be honest about it.
I like to be honest. Yeah.
If you don't like my opinion, like, go fuck yourself. Like,
no, dude, I love it, man. I love it, man. Dude, that's why I was really vibing, man. Sometimes I'm like, hey. But I just worked in like a kitchen for so many years that like, I just kind of like learned like the trade or whatever.
Like, it's
but
fine. It just everything I
but,
do also looks like cleanup later to me. It's
yeah.
like it's increasing the list of tasks for later.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my god, dude. It seems like a nightmare. But like, I would rather if I could just half that. Like if I could literally just clean up. If somebody would cook everything, like I would wash the dishes, sure,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like at least I don't have to plan the whole fucking meal and like cook all of it and like make sure all the ingredients are out and like schedule all its cooking times and all that shit gets crazy to me. Like I like the recipes where it's like cut this up and then mix this shit in a pot and like leave it for an hour. And
nice.
Like, okay,
yeah, dude,
I can do that.
Perfect.
Like chili or like a Mississippi pot roast or some shit like that. Like, okay, I'll cook that.
Yeah, just
like
throw it all in
a
there.
steak.
Turn it on.
I can cook a steak. Salt, pepper, throw it on my fucking cast iron pan. I'm good.
See,
Like,
there you go.
like
that sounds
that's
great.
fine.
A little butter
Like,
on that puppy.
I'm not a fan of making like a fucking 3-course meal with like you know all the sides and like a dessert at the end. Like, oh, dude, that's way too much work for me.
For sure. Dude, I always like I always kind of use this as like, you know, a nice like fun like social thing. And but man, like kind of going to some like the early parties. There's kind of like a couple like parties kind of happening with some of like the metal community when I was kind of maybe first getting to like know everybody. And like I would just bring like, you know, like a little dessert or like a snack.
Nice.
And just like, oh, you know, hey, got some like jalapeno poppers, or we got like these like cinnamon like bread like Nutella things. And like people would be like, what? Like you made this? I'm like, yeah. And then it was like, oh, everybody loves me. Everybody like thinks I'm the shit.
That's a good plan.
So it's just kind of like nice
excellent.
to like break the ice. Like, oh yeah, and like, you know, same thing like this. Like one time, like I think it was like Paige, Alex Brady's girlfriend. She like brought like over. Like I was kind of having like a
I
carne.
know those two.
Yeah,
I know those two really well.
Hell yeah,
I love those two.
they like brought over. I was having like a little like party. I made some like carne asada, and they brought over like this chicken dip, and I'm like, I love you guys.
Buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah, the buffalo chicken dip.
Buffalo chicken dip, dude.
was
That
so
always
It's so
works.
good. It's so easy, and then I'm like, dang, like they did, dude. I was
my-
like, I love y'all.
My brother
need
always
it.
makes that. My brother
Yeah.
makes that so often, and it's so good. I don't know what he does, like how he makes it, but he probably just follows a fucking Pinterest recipe or some
Yeah.
shit. It's probably not Pinterest, but
Dude, people have got some good recipes, you know.
he probably just follows it to the T.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just like, here you go.
There you go. It is a great way to like break the ice for sure
Yeah.
to make friends.
He
but,
likes cooking more than I do.
mhm.
I think he just likes giving people food.
Dude, it's a good. Yeah, it's satisfying.
I'm not sure he likes cooking more than he just likes bringing the food.
Yeah,
It's just like, here,
it is. Yeah,
check this out.
I think there is kind of like that fun part about being the chef. Like, you know, most of the time, hey, maybe you're like cooking at home or like kind of just making like, whatever, like a sandwich or like going out to
Yeah.
some fast food and then kind of like making something that like you took like time in and you know it's like so delicious and like seeing people's reaction of like, oh my God, like this is real flavor. And
Yeah,
just it's
yeah.
breathtaking. So definitely a lot of fun there. But definitely want to try to do some sort of like afternoon show cookout thing like in the future. I think that'd be really
Dude,
fun.
we gotta find a way to like make that a video. You
A video?
like a highlight video. Like we wanted to do that when I was with Arcanaut. There was one day we all got together and we did like a tiny little like, you know, live video where we were like, hey, we're out here cooking or you know, some bullshit like that. But I feel like it could be really produced into something that's like kind of like satire in a way.
Okay.
Where it's just like hardcore, but you're just cooking like Philly cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny, you know, but like,
Dude, yeah.
Luis cooked these badass cheesesteaks. We all went to Dan's house. And we all cooked these cheesesteaks, and he like fucking went all out. He got like some nice ass pre-sliced steak, and we each had a loaf. We each had
Classic.
a loaf to put the cheese. So it was a big ass.
This is
fucking,
like the fatty
it was
boy.
huge, dude. It's like we each had like a fucking half pound of meat, like more than that, like 3/4 probably. Like he made it really big. But he put the cheese
so
on it, and then
funny.
he had like a fucking creme brulee torch, and he torched the cheese and like toasted it into the meat. And we were like,
Amazing.
dude, what the fuck? Like I was standing there like I wish I knew this was going to happen. I wish I got a video of all of this.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I would have been prepared, you know? I didn't really have a lot of equipment at the time, though. I needed like a smartphone gimbal or something like that.
Something,
like a mic or something I could just hold instead of having the mic on the phone. Like, it's pretty limited.
It's, it's always good to like, it's so funny, like kind of nice to be like prepared. Like now you almost have to have like just like a little backpack, just your quick
that's how I felt at that house show. Like I was not prepared for all of that. I tried to get everything on my phone, and like you can hear some of the interviews and stuff when I was going around getting people's interviews, but I didn't get everybody. Like I didn't get you. You know, I didn't get anyone from Daytripper. I got all the Amaya guys. I got like all the Arcanaut guys. I already know them and everything.
Dude,
it's like more awkward going up to people I don't know and saying like, "Hey, can I talk to you on my phone?" Like with a camera pointed at your face.
I'm so bummed because I remember you saying like you came up to me like, "Yo, I gotta get you for an interview," and I think I was just so like really distracted with like the DJ shit because I gotta set that up. I gotta like tear it down. I gotta like put shit like away. And like still drinking and smoking throughout the night.
I was drinking a lot.
I was just,
so
I completely.
It's as much as my fault.
Yeah.
Like I was drinking a lot, bro. I was talking a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people I talked to that I don't remember their names that I saw at Sad Dad.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh man, we met at the house show," and I'm like, "I bet we did. I'm sure we did. Like I trust you."
I know,
but I don't remember.
I really.
Like, what's your name again?
Yeah.
I have no idea who you are.
I feel you. I am trying to get better, but I feel like there's so many of us in the same boat. It's like, hey, we meet, we have a good time.
Well,
if it's at a party and we're getting intoxicated,
I usually don't drink like that anymore.
Oh,
like,
okay.
That's the thing. That was the first time in a while where I've drank that much. So it was like I was like not used to it at the same time. Yeah. So I was just like. And honestly, I was still trying to pace myself, and I was still like, I'll let go a little bit, but like, I don't want to like, I'm not taking shots.
Right.
I was staying away from the liquor. I took one shot and like early on when I first got there. Somebody handed me a shot, and I was like, okay, fine. But like, I avoided on the rest of the night. I was like, I'm just drinking beers.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna I don't want to crash here. Like, fucking get too crazy. Like. I mean, you know what I mean. Like,
right.
I didn't want to fucking lose my shit. And like,
yeah.
There was a lot that, I didn't remember everybody I introduced myself to. I was handing out stickers to everybody. Yeah. And I was like, hey, man, like, I want to have you on my podcast. So you're in a band, right?
Hell yeah.
And like,
well, and hey, here we are. We made it, dude. We made it.
And I talked to, man. And I talked to some guys from Adavant.
Yeah.
Adavant, they've been around a while, I guess. But
they've been around a while.
I want to have Derek on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other guy's name is Jaron.
Okay.
Jaron, I think is his name. I'm probably wrong. But
I don't know if I remember.
I'll look it up later. Whatever.
Sorry.
I'm sure he won't get too offended.
No, but dude, I'm happy that like in your rare intoxicated state, you were able to embrace the hypnosis of Daytripper.
You've already been recommended to me.
Yeah,
I think Art told me to have you on.
Shout out to
Art. It was either Art or maybe Fabio.
Okay,
I'm not sure. One of those two.
Art's my boy.
One of the Doom guys. They recommended you to me because you were starting the Doom band.
Yeah.
And so I was planning on hitting you up already, but then you were going to be playing at that house show, and it's like, I'll just fucking meet him there. I'll just meet him in person.
Perfect.
And I'll just tell him, like, I want him on my podcast. Like, I'd rather do that than just text somebody.
Right, yeah.
Like, I'll cold text people and just say, like, hey, like, want to be on my podcast? Like, more than half the time, there's just no response.
Yeah, just kind of ghost.
Nothing.
But yeah, I thought that was great. It was wonderful, like, meeting you at the show, and I think... we were kind of talking with Alex Brady too, and we were kind of like talking about your episode with him, and so it was like, oh, nice, okay.
He's still the most viewed on Spotify.
Yeah,
by a lot.
That's awesome, man.
By like 20. He has the most views.
Shout out to my boy.
Yeah, Alex Brady. Everybody knows Alex, so
yeah,
he just spread it around to everybody he knew. He sent it to
homie,
everybody,
man. He's the homie.
It's like, dude, I feel like if everybody else did that, if they literally sent that episode to everybody they knew, like, hey, I was on a podcast, and like to everyone, they would have numbers like that too.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can tell they don't. they probably just share it on Facebook instead of actually sending the
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I will literally like I copy the link and I send it in Messenger to like a bunch of people after I do
Right.
the episode. That's what I do.
I
And
don't
it's like,
think people mind that. Like
Yeah, no.
if people honestly, like if people direct message me about like a
Most
show or
people
something
ignore
they
it.
did, like I don't know. I feel like I kind of prefer that in a way, just because it's like, okay, it's kind of saved in my DMs to be like reminded later if I can't watch it. Well, at least I'll like remember to. But also it's kind of like that personal like invite too. Like sometimes I'll just kind of see like a flyer for like a show and they're like,
Yeah.
hey, come out. But then if someone messaged me like, hey, we have like a show, I'd hope to see you out. I do like it. I kind of think that is like that personal touch of like, hey man, like just wanted to reach out to
Yeah.
you as
Well,
a friend and let you know
most
about
of
cool
the time, most of the time I don't really get like a response back.
shit.
But I
Okay.
know that they're gonna click on the link.
Right.
They'll at
yeah.
least click on it and it'll get like a view. You know,
Yeah.
I know that it'll get at least a view if I send it to my friends.
Yeah.
You know, I know they're clicking on it, but they don't always respond. And it's like I can't let that discourage me. You know, I gotta
true.
just keep like fucking send it to everybody every time.
Yeah,
Just send it.
And you know, I think too, like obviously, it may be like we can kind of relate to this too, but obviously, like your podcasts are pretty like long form, and so and obviously
yeah, this
with
one's long as fuck, dude.
yeah, I think we're kicking some ass right now. I've just been having a great. I've honestly been having like a legitimately fun time
Yeah,
chatting
man,
with
it's
you,
been
man.
fun.
You've been like kicking ass, but like with like Doom music being super long as well,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like telling friends like, hey, listen to my song, and then it's like a 12.5 minute song. People are like, oh, like what am I getting into? And I've definitely had people kind of come up to me like, oh, I heard like the first part, but then you know I
Yeah,
stopped. I'm like, oh, I liked it, but I appreciate their honesty too. But you know, with like the long free form, it's like, hey, you know, it can't like
Yeah,
expect
most
everybody.
people don't get to the end.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, but for those who do, we love you.
Speaking of
Here's
which,
to you.
this is probably
Yeah.
about the end.
No, for sure.
So
It's been a great time.
yeah,
Thank
dude,
you
I
so
love having
much,
these
man.
conversations.
Yeah,
I'm sure we could make 5 more episodes if
I
we
know,
wanted. So
It's
yeah,
been
dude.
so great. Hey, y'all, appreciate you. Daytripper's next show is July 21st at the Yucca Tap Room with Bells of Bong. It is going to be gnarly, another great Doom band. And thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It has been epic, dude.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime. Just recommend anyone else to hit me up to come on. Do another
Oh.
episode.
Oh, you know,
Well, I mean, just message them. You don't have to.
absolutely, I'm going to recommend the one and only Stevie Ray, my dad, as the
Oh,
the
right.
banjo player and the
Absolutely.
banjo player, and then also my other buddy, Indy Yip. He is like one of the lead dudes of the Techno Snobs community, and I think
Yeah.
like he would have a really cool perspective. He's an awesome
All right,
guy.
then. It'll really help out if you reach out
Yeah.
and let them know that I'm gonna reach out.
Yep, I'll.
That because like just cold messaging people, they usually just like brush you off.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like just some other random fucking dude. But like, I mean, I am, but like I really want to have them on. You know, I
Yeah.
think that'd be awesome.
I think that'd be great. No, I'll definitely reach out to them for sure too, and let them know. And I think you know, growing the community is great. Having great conversations is always you know insightful, really fun, and kind of like learn something and kind of connect like the community
Hell
together.
yeah, dude.
So
I like having different people on.
absolutely, man.
So,
Yeah.
all right, it's been a good conversation, man.
Absolutely.
Glad to have you on.
Cheers.